You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look up the better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the third part of What If Naruto Enters Hyperdimension Neptunia. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Hussbek on FANFICTIONnet. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Neptune reverted to her normal form and let out a tired sigh. Phew, I'm beat, transforming and fighting sure take a lot out of me. I guess that takes care of them, said If. Then she turned towards to take note of the newest additions with Naruto. So, who's that with you and what's with the sword? This here is Gatchman, he's a friend of Erisman before being suddenly summoned here and he was examining this sword here. So, he decided to join me while I took the weapon. Apparently, it's called Monadu, Naruto explained, but where did you guys find an enemy disc anyways? Nep found it while you went after Erisman. It was a surprise for us too, said Kompa. Since we found an enemy disc, do you think that there's a key fragment here too, said Neptune. The possibility is there, but we can't be too sure, said If. What are you all talking about? What's this about a key fragment? Noir was getting a little frustrated about not getting answers to her questions. Well, I'm glad you asked. We're collecting these key fragments so we can revive Histy and save the world like the heroes we are. Neptune puffed her chest with pride. Noir looked at her with a quirked eyebrow before turning to If. Iffy, is she okay or did one of the monsters hit her head hard to act like this? Nope, she's fine in a certain way, said If. Neptune was flabbergasted to hear such a thing from both of them. Hey. Even the docile me is angry at how rude you two are. Now Nep-chan, I'm sure Iffy-chan was just kidding around and we know that you're not crazy, said Naruto. Neptune clasped Naruto's hands in hers with teary eyes. Oh Naruto, I've always known that you would rise to my defense. You're welcome. All jokes aside, Nep wasn't kidding about what she said. We need to find all of the key fragments to release a tome named Histoire, If explained. I see, Noir muttered softly to herself. Is there something on your mind, Noir? If they're crazy thoughts then we'll be sure to get you the best psychiatrists, said Neptune cheerfully. You're the one who needs help in the head. I can't believe how you're taking all this in stride, said Noir, smiling a bit. It's nice to see that you're so friendly with Nep, said Kompa happily. Noir was taken aback. What? Me? With Neptune? You've got to be kidding me. Come on Noir-chan, you gotta admit that you like Nep-chan at least, said Naruto playfully. No I don't. Shocker. Neptune looked like she just got shot in the chest with an arrow, and here I thought you, Naruto and I were like war buddies. Friends above friends. Then she blinked upon realizing something, or maybe your affection is a notch above friendship like love. Look, I appreciate the feeling but we're both girls and I don't really go that route. Noir looked like she just sucked on a lemon when she heard the implication. Are you stupid? Love? I don't even like you. Look at you being so tsundere, said Neptune innocently. Ugh, why am I even arguing with you? Will you guys help me out here? You really do like Nep after all, said Kompa. Kinda hard not to see that, said If in agreement. You really are shy, that's cute, said Naruto. Erisman was giggling while Gatchman chuckled at all this. He just joined the group and is already having fun with them. As much as we want to keep this up, what say we get out of here and you two can do whatever you want back at the inn, said If. HHH Hotel. Noir blushed red from the statement. Iffy, even Neptune herself was shocked to hear that with the same going for Naruto who was also blushing at the suggestion. Kompa looked around in confusion of why they were reacting like that. I certainly wasn't expecting to hear that, said K9. What's the matter? Asked If, then the meaning of her words slammed into her like a freight train. Oh no, don't misunderstand me. I didn't say, do, whatever at the end in that sense. No, not at all. Oh Iffy, you look so cute, blushing and all, said Neptune with a smile. Yes, you really are cute, said Noir. Compa soon joined in, yesy, cute. You always act cool, nice to see that you can also be cute at times, said Naruto with a foxy grin. Even the Digimon were nodding agreement with him. If it were back in Konoha, Sakura would have bashed him in the head, but with them he felt much more at ease to the point of even being playful with them. Poor IF's face was beet red with steam coming out of her ears. All of you should stop teasing me already. Then she broke the enemy disc into two. There, it's borken, no I mean broken. Lololo, let's go already. She hastily walked away to avoid getting any more embarrassed. I didn't expect to see a bashful side of her, said Neptune playfully. Looks like our plan worked, nice job Noir. I didn't do it for you or anything, okay, said Noir with a tinge of pink on her cheeks, seeing Naruto smile at her in response. We know, let's go after Iffy-chan so we can get out of here, said Naruto before walking off with the rest following him. Nep, Noir and Neru really are great friends after all, said Compa. The group were on their way with Gatchman giving them directions of where to go since he's been there longer than anyone else. Also he proved helped by providing information on the monsters encountered, which made fighting a bit more easier. Erisman's treasure hunter had been upgraded to adept treasure hunter such that he could now unearth hidden treasure, as he found several idea chips and even a silver sword weapon for Noir to equip, with the girl shyly saying her thanks to a sheepish Digimon. Naruto was also trying to figure out how the Monadu works with help from the biometals and K9. So far they figured that the blade granted a currently uncontrolled ability to see into the future, but nothing more than that. Model Z suggested that he continues using the weapon to attune to it, which in turn could unlock more of its secrets, so Naruto alternated between using the short swords and Monadu in battles as Gatchman continued to guide them through the place and leveling up while they were at it. Gatchman, are we there yet? My feet feel like jelly, Neptune whined out. I'm pretty tired too, said Compa. Not to worry, we're almost at the exit, Gatchman, sitting on Naruto's shoulder. You girls really need to exercise more, you don't see Naruto complaining, said If. Naruto hardly gets tired that quickly, unlike you two, said Noir. Well, my sensei always did complain that I'm too energetic for my own good. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Tell me about it, typical Uzumaki K9 muttered lowly, but Naruto heard it. Did you say something? Nothing at all, just muttering random things. Hey everyone, can you come here for a bit? Noir called out from somewhere, making them notice that she wasn't there with them. Pretty unusual for Noir to call us. I wonder what's up, asked Neptune. We might as well go and find out, said Naruto before walking towards where Noir was calling them from. Okay Noir, we're here, so what is it? Asked If. This on the wall isn't that the disc you showed me before, the one you call an enemy disc? Noir pointed at said object. Two in one place. You gotta be kidding me, said If with a frown. Ganache must really want to get rid of us, said Compa worriedly. I kinda find it unfair, Planeptune only had one and Lestation has two. Neptune crossed her arms with a pout. But it certainly explains why more monsters keep appearing to attack us, said Gatchman, already scanning the object with his magnifying glass device. Well, there's no way we'll leave this untouched, let's break it, said If. Wait. Neptune suddenly called out. What is it? Can I be the one to break it? I've always wanted to break a disc, but I didn't want to do that to any of my music CDs. This here is a perfect opportunity for me to do so. Come to think of it, I also had that urge from time to time, said Naruto thoughtfully. Given how your pranks usually lead to breaking stuff, I'm not surprised, said K9. Sometimes I wonder what goes through your heads. If looked like she was trying to stave off a headache. It was at that moment that the disc started to glow. Quit with the talking and break it already. Something may come out again, said Noir urgently. Well, there's a face-looking thingy coming out already, Neptune pointed for them to see that another robot-type monster has emerged and was aiming at them with its twin cannons. Why are you so relaxed like that? That's an R4I SDHC, an advanced form of the R4. Be careful. Gatchman called out in alert. Nep transform. Let's get rid of the monster and the disc, said If. You too, Naru, said Kampa. Roger that, said Neptune. Then she transformed into her HDD form. All over it, let's do this X, said Naruto as Model X flew into his hand and held it in front of him. Mega Merge. Biolink established, MEGA system online. Naruto was engulfed in a dome light before fading away to reveal him in his Mega Man X form and stood at the ready. Listen to me Iffy, I want you to break the disc so that no more monsters would come out, said Neptune. But I thought you said that you want to break it, asked If in disbelief. Now that I've transformed, I'm thinking more clearly now. Arg. Can you be any more random? Kampa smiled at all this. Even when transformed, Nep is a lot of fun. This is almost painful to watch, said Noir in a deadpanned expression. Heads up everyone, here it comes. Naruto called out as the monster advanced towards them. Music start, Kingdom Hearts BRTH by Sleep OST, The Tumbling. The R4I SDHC aimed its cannons towards Kampa and fired several rounds at her. Naruto was quick to scoop her up before dashing away to avoid the shots as if charged at the monster from the left side, then slashed rapidly with her claws before jumping away when it spun in an attempt to bludgeon her with one of the cannons. Naruto placed Kampa on the ground and turned to face the monster with a glare. He's really starting to dislike it when monsters target Kampa a lot in battle. His gamer sense may view her as being the team healer, but personally it's because she's his first friend in this world. Alright buddy, you asked for it. Speed burner. He took aim with his Mega Buster and fired a pair of fireballs which spun around each other to hit the monster. Naruto followed up with two more before having to jump into the air when the enemy shot at him. Now it's my turn. Cross combo. Neptune unleashed her combo attack and added a couple more strikes before quickly taking to the air when the R4I SDHC attempted to use an explosion attack on her. If drew its attention away from her by using her Lost Delphinus, although the damage wasn't that much, but it did the trick as the monster now turned towards her and proceeded to fire several rounds. I prefer that you look this way. Noir called out as she towards the R4I SDHC from behind and performed her lace ribbons combo, but the monster's weight prevented it from being knocked into the air and retaliated by using another explosion. Oh no you don't, strike chain. Naruto fired a long chain with a hook at the end to latch onto one of the cannons and used his enhanced strength to pull away, making the attack to miss its target completely. Go for the attack while I hold it back. You got it, critical edge. Neptune swooped in to inflict as much damage as she could with If and Noir joining her in the assault. The R4I SDHC finally had enough and performed a 360 spin to knock everyone back whilst pulling Naruto over towards it, but the blonde thought fast and pulled off a counter-attack as he somersaulted in midair whilst charging up the Mega Buster till he was overhead and let loose a charged shot before landing on the ground with a skid. At this point, the R4I SDHC went completely haywire as it began to fire randomly in any directions, forcing everyone to dodge the best they could. Naruto's mind raced for a solution when he heard X suggest him using a certain technique from the variable weapons system before he called out to the others, "Hey everyone, I need you get behind me." Okay, said If as she and the others rushed over to position themselves behind Naruto, who had gathered the needed energy for his next move. Rolling shield, full charge. Naruto released the energy from his body to form a red translucent dome around himself as the shots fired at him from the monster were easily deflected. Then he gathered energy once more. You need to chill, Crystal Hunter. He fired a large drop of cyan liquid which made contact with the R4I SDHC, completely encasing in crystal and hence arresting any move. Now's your chance to finish it off. Right. Neptune and more quickly dashed towards the monster and slashed rapidly with their swords before backing away for it to fall into a million pieces, then dispersing into pixels not long after. Music end. Looks like we're done here, said Naruto before reverting to his normal self with Model X floating up next to his fellow Biometal. Thanks for the assist X. It was no trouble at all, you're becoming more adaptive to the variable weapons system which makes it hard for enemies to predict your moves, said Model X. He's right, I wait in anticipation for when you start to use me, said Model Z. Now that's taken care of, let's break the disc before any more come out. If reached out for the disc when Neptune spoke up. Hey, wait a minute, I said that I wanted to break it. Neptune protested. But you're the one who said that I should break it, said If with a smile at her being so random at times like these. But that was my other saying that, different personas remember. Ugh, not this again. Now that I'm my normal self, I want to break the disc. There was the sound of something snapping into two, but Neptune blinked in confusion as she wasn't the source of the snapping. Everyone turned to see Noir holding the two broken halves of the disc in her hands. I broke it, there's no way I'm going to fight any more monsters, said Noir as a matter of factly. Neptune stared at her with a look of disappointment much to Noir's confusion. Why are you looking at me like that? Wow, Noir, way to break the disc and the mood in one go. Yeah, that wasn't cool at all, said If, shaking her head in disapproval. What? I'm in the wrong here. You girls were arguing. Noir protesting. But you knew that Nep-chan wanted to break the disc but still went ahead, that's kinda stealing her thunder. Said Naruto with a small frown. I'm in agreement with Naruto, it was a poor choice made, said Gatchman. Yeah, maybe it's these kind of stuff that leave you friendless, said Neptune. I have a lot of friends, okay. I'm SRRY, is that what you want to hear? And how do you know that you have friends if you've lost your memories? Asked Neptune, more flinched and tried to make a comeback. Iffy, Naru, you two are so terrible, said Kampa, getting the two to turn towards her with smiles on their faces. It was too good to pass up Kampa-chan, my inner prankster left me little choice but to do it, said Naruto with a foxy grin. Yeah, it's funny to see they argue like this, said If amusedly. Anyways, we're almost to the exit. So let's get a move on, said Gatchman. They were able to get the two to stop arguing and continued on their way till they arrived before a large door similar to the one they went through earlier and were relieved upon discovering that this one isn't locked, then went through it to find themselves back outside and free of the monsters inside. Yay! We're finally outside, said Neptune happily. The rays of the sun on my skin has never felt so good, said Kampa in contentment. Makes you want to take a nice long nap. We really owe it to Gatchman for helping us get out of there, said Naruto, glancing at said Digimon sitting on his shoulder. Yeah, Gatchman, thanks a lot, said Erisman gratefully. No thanks needed, I just what I had to do, said Gatchman. If was frowning in thought which caught Noir's attention and soon Naruto's. What's the matter? You've been quiet, said Noir. I was wondering what Ganache was trying to accomplish by trapping us inside with those enemy disc-spawning monsters, said If. Besides trying to get rid of us since we were trying to uncover the company's secret info, nothing else comes to mind, said Naruto thoughtfully. Maybe so, but is that really all he was aiming towards? She might be onto something, there could be more than one reason for luring us into a trap, said Model Z with Model X nodding in agreement. But the question would be what? Thought Naruto. You guys are worrying too much, let's just head back to Qian's place for some lunch, said Neptune cheerfully. Upon hearing Qian's name, something clicked in IF's mind which made her eyes widen in realization then urgency. That's right, Qian's in danger. What do you mean Iffy? Asked Kampa worriedly. Remember what Ganache said after trapping us? Naruto thought back to what the man said and soon realized what If meant. DMN it. Ganache wasn't just trapping us for the monsters to take us down, but to separate us from Qian while he goes after since we wouldn't be around to defend her. What? Noir couldn't believe what she was hearing right now. A frequently used battle strategy, and well deployed, said K9 with a growl. Then we better get back to her pronto, said Neptune with determination. What was he thinking, targeting civilians just for the expo? Noir was growling with rage which surprised everyone around her and scaring them too. Now I'm really mad, I won't let Ganache or Avenir get away with this. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Now Noir's really mad. Neptune went to hide behind Naruto, who was just as scared, with Kampa joining her as well. "Noir, you're scaring me," said Kampa fearfully. Noir turned towards the trio, causing them to stiffen. "You girls, enough jibber-jabber. We need to go and help Chian." "Yes ma'am," they responded obediently. "But Naruto isn't a girl, so why did he respond?" asked Arisman while fearfully peeking from Naruto's hoodie. "I doubt it would have made any difference with her current state of mind," said Gatchman. The group finally made their way back to La Station, but were shocked to see that parts of the city has been demolished, with rubbles and debris lying everywhere. Whilst the citizens ran about in a panic, they were disturbed at the sight of the destruction with just the time they had wasted inside of the abandoned storage room, and already had a good idea of who was responsible for this. "Man, this is way too hardcore even for me," said Neptune with a sad frown. "Ganache is going to pay for this." Noir growled angrily. "Pretty obvious, especially with his actions today," said Naruto, frowning as well. "Involving innocents in things like this is a guarantee to anger him by a lot, and apparently the biometals are just as upset." "How could he do something like this?" said Model X in a sad tone. "I guess some things will never change, unless we do something to change it," said Model Z. There was the sound of footsteps, and the group turned to see Chian, much to their relief, although she's covered in dirt and that there were rips and tears on her clothes. "You're all safe," said Chian with a look of relief. Noir responded with concern. "Chian, are you okay?" "I'm okay, but I need you all to get out of here, as things have become very dangerous right now." "What do you mean, get out? What about you?" "I'm going to the Basilicom to ask for Lady Blackheart's help, so you should get to someplace safe." "No can do, Chian-san, we won't be doing any hiding whatsoever," said Naruto with his arms crossed in defiance. "That's right, we have an agenda with Ganache since he tried to get rid of us earlier," said Neptune in agreement. "So you won't have to worry, we'll take care of Avenir and anything in our way. Let's go everyone." Noir took off with the others in tow as Chian tried to call them back, but to no avail. The group traced the sounds of destruction towards where Ganache is most likely to be, and sure enough they were able to locate, only to be shocked upon seeing a giant robot with the upper body of a human male and the lower body being that of a serpent, as it wields a battle axe and a spiked mace. "Well done, Kilikeen, continue to attack the city, might as well increase the power to display your performance, which will be sure to sell quite well to our client," said Ganache with a look of greed. "Hey you four-eyed JRK!" Naruto called out in an obviously angered voice. Ganache turned round and didn't seem surprised to see them. "Oh my, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, it looks like you all made it out safe. Did you seriously think that those monsters could take us on?" asked Noir with a smirk. "Oh, of course not. But they did buy some time, didn't they? And with that amount of time, I was able to demonstrate the power of our weapon," said Ganache arrogantly. Noir clenched her fists upon hearing that. "You fiend. Fiend? Even if you called me that, what are you going to do about it? You're weak now since you've lost your power to Avenir." "Lost her power? What is the team talking about, and why does he seem so familiar with Noir-chan?" thought Naruto confusedly with how the conversation is progressing, but decided to remain silent and listen. "That's not true," Noir protested. "You may say that, but you're well aware that you have been gone for too long. The people of La Station barely believe in you anymore, so you have no one to blame but yourself. Though I must thank you for making it so easy for us to take over," said Ganache smugly. Noir didn't say a word. "You have nothing to say against my logic. So what?" Ganache blinked in confusion at the response. "You're poorly mistaken if you think that I'm here for vengeance and power. None of those matter to me. I'm here for the people who believe in me," said Noir confidently. Naruto had to admit that he's still trying to figure out the subject of the conversation, but her resolution was admirable. "But then, iffy. Can I speak now, cause I really can't take any more of this seriousness," said Neptune. If rolled her eyes at the question. "Just wait until they finish talking, okay Neptune? Come on, I need to talk to Breathe, and I'm pretty sure that their conversation is being skipped so that they can get into the action." "Nep-chan, I thought we agreed to let Noir finish with her cool speech, then we jump in with our own shorter but cool speeches before getting into the boss fight, Naruto pointed out to her. If Nep doesn't keep quiet then she won't get any pudding, said Kampa, causing Neptune's eyes to widen in fear. Noir turned round with tick marks on her head. It's already too late for that. You've completely ruined the mood. Sorry about that, Noir-chan. Nep-chan just couldn't stop herself, said Naruto, getting a yell of protest from the girl in question. I need you all to be quiet, and I mean especially you, Neptune, said Noir. Why yes ma'am. Neptune went to hide behind Naruto to avoid being glared at. Are you done talking with your friends? I'm a busy person, you know, said Ganache. Noir turned to glare at Ganache. Let me save you time then, by sending that machine to the scrap heap. Nep, Naru. It's time to transform, said Kampa. Copy that. Neptune focused her energy to transform into her HDD form. Ganache, you went too far. Feel the pain Qian and the citizens endured. Naruto was about to follow suit when he noticed Ganache taking a step back in absolute shock. What? That form, but, why are you here? Then Ganache turned towards Noir. You're supposed to be here, enemy. Why? Naruto quirked an eyebrow at the question, enemy. What's that supposed to mean? He turned to see Noir smile in response, much to his confusion. For those who believe in me, I'll do anything for them, anything. Noir closed her eyes as if concentrating, then called out in a loud voice, access. She was suddenly engulfed in a pillar of light which dissipated to reveal her in a familiar form which caused everyone's eyes to widen in shock. Noir. That form. Neptune was just as taken aback. You're the same one we met back at West Wind Valley, said Erisman in shock. Everything will be explained later, first we need to deal with this contraption, said Noir urgently. Naruto snapped back into focus and went to stand in between them. Then in that case, let me get into gear for this boss battle. Model Z, it's time for your debut. I've been waiting for this, let us begin, Naruto. Then Model Z flew into Naruto's hand as the blonde held it before him. Okay then, Mega Merge. Naruto called out to initiate the transformation. Biolink established, MEGA system online. Naruto was engulfed in a dome of light before fading away to reveal him in armor similar to the one he dons when Mega merged with Model X, except that the blue is replaced with red plus in place of a helmet. Naruto wears an angular black visor over his eyes and his hair had grown out into a long blonde spiky ponytail. Naruto reached to the belt on his waist to hold out a bladeless sword handle which suddenly projected a deltoid-shaped blade made out of green slightly transparent energy. Naruto took a step forward with the blade held in both hands as he took a combat stance, Mega Man Model 0, ready for battle. Ganache took a step back in shock. You can transform as well. There's a lot more you don't know about and we're gonna show an example on your floating Tinkin. I'll take point. Neptune flew forward at high speed and slashed consecutively at the Killikeen until it had enough and swung its mace in her direction as she quickly dashed backwards to evade the incoming strike, albeit barely, with the wind from the swing blowing against her hair. Time to get it on. Neptune channeled her inner energy to increase her strength, critical edge. She flew back at the Killikeen to slash the robotic monster, then followed up with an uppercut to launch it further into the air, then slashed once more with great speed whilst inflicting a large amount of damage. Gatchman brought the magnifying glass device over his eye. Deep search, a matrix of numbers could be seen streaming through the visual device as he looked at each of the monsters before speaking. Everyone, the Killikeen possesses innate resistance to physical attacks due to being a machine-type monster. Elemental attacks will be more effective against it. This might be a bit problematic given that our current moveset has no elemental affinities, said Noir with a frown. Naruto spoke up. No worries about that. Model 0 has some techniques with various elements tied to them. Very well, we shall rely on you to inflict the most damage while we proceed with the assault. Media Station S, like Neptune, Noir channeled her inner energy to increase her strength as well. Lace ribbons. Noir dashed towards the monster and performed a somersault kick to attack it, then performed 2 additional spinning kicks before twirling in the air to strike with a diagonal slash. Now it's my turn. Naruto dashed at the Kilikeen with the Z-saber held in one hand, then leapt into the air. Raijin attack. He transformed the saber into a blade of lightning and lash out with a move, electrifying the monster with a large amount of voltage before jumping away. Naruto looked up to see the Kilikeen swinging its mace with intentions to smash him. Naruto quickly mounted the Z-saber onto his forearm, then spun around like a chainsaw to create an energy shield known as the shield boomerang. Naruto timed the moment to dash backwards at the point of contact to reduce the impact as he skidded away to put up a safe distance before detaching the Z-saber from his forearm. Careful Naruto, the shield boomerang is not meant to defend against melee attacks, Model Z spoke up in warning. I kinda noticed when I got knocked back from the blow, said Naruto. Neptune flew past Naruto with her sword at the ready, cross combo. She rushed at the monster and slashed up to 5 hits with the 6th launching it into the air, then leaping after it with the final slash to slam it hard to the ground. The monster recovered and retaliated with a swing of its axe at Neptune, more blurred in between them, and deflected the incoming attack with her sword in defense. Thanks for the assist, Noir. Please exercise more caution, said Noir in a scolding manner. Gangway, I'm coming through. Naruto called out as he ran in a straight line while dragging the tip of the Z-saber along the ground, getting the girls to move out of the way. Dragon Flame Blade. He transformed the Z-saber into a blade of red flames as he performed a leaping upward slash to strike the Kilikeen and appeared above it. I'm not done yet. Ice Fury Slash. Naruto transformed the sword once more into a giant light blue icicle before diving towards the enemy and striking it with the force, sending both crashing down to the ground, but he disengaged at the last minute and landed safely with a roll to avoid damage to himself. Keep it up, my scans are reading that the accumulated damage is wearing it down by a lot. Gatchman called out while looking at the Kilikeen with his magnifying glass device. Watch out! The Kilikeen is going berserk. Model X called out in alert. True to his word, the monster has gone completely haywire as the monster proceeded to swing its axe and mace wildly about, destroying the surrounding buildings. It seemed to have targeted solely Naruto. And ignored Neptune and Noir. Naruto was constantly using short dashes and at times somersaulting into the air to avoid the incoming attacks heading his way. Naruto reached for the belt once more and took out a Z-saber variation with a loose, extendable Z-saber tip which is held together by several energy chain links called the chain rod. Naruto kicked off a wall and launched the chain rod to latch onto a nearby street pole as he swung around to somersault over the Kilikeen to land behind it while atop the roof of a building before going into the offensive. Hurricane Fang. Naruto leapt off the roof towards the Kilikeen and performed a twirling slash with the Z-saber, taking on a pink color, then striking up to 3 times in a row before Kilikeen turned round and was about to attack once more but got blindsided by Neptune and Noir in a pincer formation, causing the monster to divert its attention towards them. Now's your chance, Naruto. Finish it off with the decisive blow, said Model Z. Got it. Naruto began gathering energy into the Z-saber and mildly noticed that Neptune and Noir were currently keeping the Kilikeen at bay. He dashed forward upon seeing the charging halfway complete and leapt high into the air with the Z-saber held in both hands above his head as the blade glowed brightly to signal the completion of the charge. Full charged saber slash. He dove towards the robot and lashed out with a cleaving strike before landing on the ground. Neither of them moved until a green glowing vertical line was seen on the Kilikeen before it split into 2 and disappeared in pixels, signaling the end of the battle. Music end. Looks like we're all done here, said Naruto as he stood back on his feet and deactivated the Z-saber. Noir and Neptune descended to land next to him. With the 3 of us, this was easy. Where's Ganache, said Noir. This got the others to look around for the person that was the cause of all this destruction. Seems like he got away, said Noir. He must have do so when we were all focused on taking his toy down, Naruto muttered with a small frown. Well, no matter, he'll get what he deserves next time, said Noir angrily. Speaking of Noir, that form of yours, Neptune pointed out. You're just like Nep when she's transformed, said Kampa as she and the others approached them now that the battle is over. You mean this form? Well, of course, as I am the CPU of La Station, said Noir. This caused everyone sans if to be taken aback in surprise. What? Neptune exclaimed. I had my reasons, but first off, I wish to apologize for lying to you, and I'm also grateful for your help overall, said Noir. Naruto reverted to his normal form with Model Z floating next to Model X. I guess should have seen this coming from a mile away. Me too, I never would have known, said Kampa. Same here, this was quite the hidden piece of information, said Gatchman. Actually, I knew all along, said If with a smile, getting everyone to look at her in shock. No way, said Noir. Seriously, your attempts at hiding your identity need a lot of work. Same here, not to mention that your name was mentioned earlier by that adventurer girl before we even met, you said K9 as a matter of factly. Naruto wanted to smack his head for that as the avatar was right now that he recalls it. Great, so all that hiding was for nothing then. Noir frowned in frustration. Not really, at least we got to know each other a lot better compared to the first time we met, said Naruto with a foxy grin. Noir smiled a bit in response, yeah, I guess you're right. But since you know who I am, can you tell me now, asked Neptune. What to do? Noir looked as if she was considering to tell her the truth. Come on now, no fooling around this time. It's no secret at this point, so you might as well tell her, said If. You know Nep-Nep's true identity? Asked Kampa. It's actually kind of obvious once you think of it much more clearly, said Naruto. Indeed it is, said Model X. Wait, you mean she's? Erisman looked at Neptune in shock. Come on, even Erisman has figured it out. Will somebody tell me already? Neptune was obviously exasperated. Alright Neptune, you're the CPU of Planeptune. Your purple heart, Noir finally dropped the bomb on Neptune. Seriously? Neptune simply quirked an eyebrow in disbelief of the statement. Nep seems to be in shock, said Kampa. And a bit of denial to boot, Gatchman pointed out. Iffy, Naru, can you really believe that I'm the CPU of Planeptune? Asked Neptune. For now, how about you change back first? If suggested. Oh right, Neptune reverted to her normal self but still has the disbelieving expression on her face, but seriously, is me being me really okay with you guys? It kinda makes sense, since the first time we met was when you were falling from the sky. Which probably means that you might have fallen down from Celestia, Naruto surmised. I remember that day, that was when we found her staked to the ground, said Kampa. And you needn't worry, we won't be fighting now, said Noir. I guess that's good to hear because I think that we could all use some sleep after all this, said If, receiving nods of agreement from the rest before vacating the area to meet up with Qian. Later on, the group were back at the inn to rest with Neptune and Erisman fast asleep on the bed while the rest were having a discussion over the recent events. Now that things are calm, don't you need to show your identity to Qian? Asked If curiously. Noir shook her head in response, now is not the time, revealing myself now would make things worse. I need to get back into shape before revealing my identity. I guess you have a point there, this avenir is no joke, that's for sure. We need to be prepared for anything they could come up with, said Gatchman thoughtfully. Do you have a plan? Asked Kampa. Not really, I'm just doing my best in helping everyone living here, said Noir. Sounds like a good option to go on so far, as expected of Lady Blackheart, said If appraisingly. Enough with the honorifics, just call me Noir since I like that better. Was intending to, as I really don't like honorifics when talking with friends, said Naruto with a foxy grin, making Noir smile as well. It would definitely feel weird if Naruto were to address her by title. Compared to Noir, looking towards Nep, If glanced at Neptune who was currently snoring away. She's sound asleep, she must be very tired, said Kampa. Given the number of battles we went through today, I would be surprised if she wasn't tuckered out by then, said Naruto with a shrug of his shoulders. Unlike you who needs a small amount of rest before getting back up and rearing to go, said K9. There was a knock on the door before it opened to reveal Qian entering the room and greeting everyone. Hey there everyone. Qian, is the factory okay? Asked Kampa with concern. Thanks to you all, we've got a lot cleaned up while the rest is for tomorrow. So, how is the factory, really? asked Noir. Most of it is in unworkable condition, not much to be done about it. Bummer, wish we had shown up earlier, said Naruto with a frown. Neptune then woke up. Saw Qian. Oh Qian, since when did you show up? I just arrived, sorry to wake you up, said Qian. So what happens now? Asked If. With the expo around the corner, I need to get the factory up and running first. Guess we won't be getting any work till then. Sorry about that. It's no biggie, we'll return to Planeptune to come up with something else, said Naruto with a shrug of his shoulders. I guess there isn't much of a choice since we have no leads on a key fragment. Kompa was in agreement. Neptune then brought out the Armas test model 1.01 blade and presented it to Qian. Here's your weapon back. Qian took the weapon. Thanks. When the expo is near, come back. I'll ask you for more tests then. That's great, I'll hope to see your new factory by then. Count on it. The next morning, everyone was at the outskirts of the city, although it appears that one of them has something to ask. Huh? Nawa isn't coming with us? Asked Neptune confusedly. Don't call me Nawa, it's Noir, said Noir adamantly. Oh come on, you can call me Neppy if you like, said Neptune playfully. No I won't. Wait, why would I even do that? Noir-chan told us that she would be staying back to take care of things here, but you were asleep with Erisman at the time, Naruto explained. Neptune looked disappointed upon hearing that. And I thought we were going to be best buddies. Now Nep, let's not bother Noir. We still haven't found the key fragment in La Station, so we'll come back here, said Kompa. She's right, so we'll return here, said If. And I'll be sure to welcome you all back, said Noir with a smile. Oh, and Neptune. Don't go around saying that you're a CPU, you hear? I'm not sure about the other lands, but each have their own problems. That's right, there's no telling what will happen should they find out, said If. I think we know that already, given we had been attacked twice by people who knew about her, said Naruto. Then he saw Noir flinch due to having attacked them before. We're not mad at you Noir-chan, it's in the past now. Oh thank you, I'm still sorry though, said Noir a bit shyly. Yeah Neru's right. Besides, I'll just have to wait until the last scene, then I wow them with my identity, said Neptune excitedly. Kompa clapped her hands in excitement as well, just like in the theater. Oh, then I want to come out at the encore call. Let's not forget that we need to pick an awesome background music for that moment, said Naruto thoughtfully. I'll be sure to search the most suitable one on the internet, Gatchman offered, already rearing to go. I'll help too. Erisman spoke up from atop the blonde spiky hair. Great, then we'll have Iffy pull the curtains backstage, said Neptune. They sure are relaxed after everything that happened yesterday, said Model X. They'll be needing it, given the journey ahead, said Model Z. Noir looked at If with a bit of worry. If. Are you going to be okay? I'll be fine or maybe not, I'm already getting a headache, If muttered lowly while looking at the others now talk about speeches and poses. Phew, this place really is home, said Neptune as she sprawled out on the couch in the living room with a look of bliss on her face. The couch is comfy, games all over, and the fridge is all stocked up with pudding. Great way to begin a new chapter Nep, said If as she entered the room with a quirked eyebrow, slacking off and all. Neptune sat up with a pout. You're so serious Iffy, we went through a lot over at La Station, so give me a break. Well I would have given you a break if it wasn't a week ago since then. Come on, now's my only chance to binge on some pudding before the next big fight, you dig? Who's gonna kick back now? Neptune pointed a thumb at herself. It's me yo. If let out a sigh, I keep asking myself if she really is the CPU of Planeptune. There was a knock on the door before it opened to reveal Naruto coming inside with Erisman riding in his hood and Gatchman riding on his shoulder as the blonde waved at them. Hey girls, just got back from completing a couple of quests. Welcome back, at least someone is taking things a bit more seriously unlike someone else, said If. Then Kompa came in with a platter holding a bowl of pudding on it. Nep, I made tasty milk pudding for you. Neptune jumped from the couch happily. Yay pudding. Milky milk pudding. Nep-chan, as much as I like binging on my favorite food like the next person, shouldn't you do some leveling up at times? Asked Naruto with a sweat drop. Exactly what I was thinking, Naruto. I just wish that she takes things more seriously and Kampa to cut back on the pampering, said If. Sorry, but Neptune looks so cute when she melts upon eating my pudding, said Kampa sheepishly. Naruto rubbed the back of his head. Well, I can't deny that Kampa-chan's a great cook, that's for sure. Can I have some of your pudding please? Asked Erisman, with Gatchman nodding in agreement, having difficulty rating it upon the first time tasting. Coming right up. Kampa headed back to the kitchen to get more. Seems to me like they're too relaxed, said Model Z. Come now Z, it wouldn't do for them to be tense all the time, said Model X in a placating manner. Sigh, these two, I guess it's better than being in peril. I guess enjoying the moment isn't bad. I better started then. If took out a flip phone and proceeded to browse, which caught Neptune's attention. Whatcha doing over there, Iffy? Single player checkers? Single player rummy? None of that, I'm just checking out the goddess's blog, said If. A goddess's blog? Care to tell us more about it? Never thought that goddesses would be bloggers, asked Naruto curiously. No, only the CPU from Leanbox has one, If clarified. Ah shucks, I would have teased more over her entries if she had one, said Neptune playfully. Nep, that's kinda low. I wonder what a goddess might talk about. I think I'll check it out now. Naruto flipped his G-pad open and made his way to the blog with Gatchman and Erisman peering over his shoulders. A warning about the increase in the number of monsters, recommendations to hotels for travelers. What do we have here? A hidden link. A hidden link? Are you sure? Asked If, receiving a nod from the blonde before checking on her phone. You're right, it really is a hidden link. Oh, a hidden link to unknown secrets. Let's see what's in it. Neptune actually grabbed Naruto's hand to fiddle with the G-pad and clicked on the link. Hey, take it easy Nep-chan, said Naruto. Welcome to my hidden page. I will be posting my favorite diary here. Neptune read off the current webpage. If gasped in shock, LL Lady G Greenheart's diary. You shouldn't read someone's diary. If that was the case, then she wouldn't have put it up to begin with. I suspect that she may have wanted someone to come across it, else she wouldn't have written welcome on it, Gatchman pointed out to them. I bet If wants to hide in a corner somewhere so she could read all to herself, Neptune spoke up. Me? LL look at LL Lady Green Heart's private life. No, I wouldn't do that. If protested, albeit weakly. You're not helping your case with how you're acting right now, said K9 with a deadpan expression. I'll say, so let's read it out loud, said Neptune excitedly. Naruto yanked his arm away. Then let's at least shift to a more comfortable position, Nep-chan, my arm's aching from how you're holding it. Sorry Naru. Both went to sit at the couch while If entered the link when she thought they weren't looking, but the Digimon and Biometals simply sweat dropped at the action. Let's see now, I bought 6 new games, my backlog is getting too big. Huh? If blinked in confusion at what she's reading. I can't wait to get my Tsundere Otaku glasses set. If I recall on the internet, it is the limited edition released by the Otomate branded company, said Gatchman, having been able to access the internet ever since he linked up with Naruto. There's more, can't play the 4 goddesses online with server error, Neptune continued to read. Sounds to me like the CPU is a gamer, said Naruto, then he noticed If to be rather depressed and had an idea why. The image of Lady Greenheart is crumbling, said If with a dark cloud hovering overhead. Ah, did the difference between image and reality hit you hard? Asked Neptune innocently. If shook her head in denial, and no. I'm sure the Basilicom did this to make appear more natural. I don't know about that Iffy-chan, these entries totally scream, gamer, and I should know since I'm a gamer myself. Maybe she could recommend some good stuff for me, said Naruto thoughtfully. You're wrong Naruto, my goddess can't be this much of a gamer, I'm sure she's doing this to appeal to the public. If remained adamant. Neptune then spoke up, then in that case, let's go to Leanbox and meet her face to face, then we'll find out if she's gamer or not. Fine, and if she isn't a gamer like I know she isn't, then I'll take a week's worth of pudding each from you too. Then we'll take that bet, said Naruto with a smirk and Neptune nodding eagerly in agreement. This isn't the reason I was expecting us to go to Lean Box for, said Kampa walking in with a platter of pudding whilst sweat dropping. Me neither. Well, we could also search for the key fragment while we're there anyways, said K9. The next day, Naruto and the group made their way over to the Plane Tower once again to gain approval from the Planeptune Basilicom before crossing the Sky Harbor to find themselves over at Lean Box, which they found to be a rather sharp contrast to last station. The land is filled with nature and appears quite peaceful with all kinds of pastures, and the buildings were of medieval design with actual knights walking about. This place is kinda like a fusion of the medieval era and modern era, said Naruto musingly. So you mean there's stuff like knights riding motorcycles instead of horses and witches flying with jetpacks instead of brooms? Asked Neptune with wide eyes. Just how do you come up with such random questions? Asked K9. Quite the puzzlement, said Gatchman looking just as confused. Randomness aside, let's go look for the Lean Box's Basilicom, said If before taking the lead with the rest in tow. The group asked some of the residents for directions and sure enough were soon to arrive at their destination. They had also received a couple of plans from some rather eccentric characters which Naruto stored away in his G-Pad's database to check out later, and even discovered that Noir had set up a blog but decided to keep quiet about it for a bit in case Neptune would still go through with what she said earlier before. Soon enough, they arrived at their destination. Looks like we're here, said Kampa. Let's hope we don't get kicked out like over at last station, said Neptune. Well, I didn't see any factories polluting the environment, which means that Avenir isn't in Lean Box, said Arisman. Naruto took note of If looking at her phone. What is it that you're checking on your phone, Ify-chan? Lady Greenheart's blog. There's just another update, which means that she's still here at the Basilicom, If responded. Pretty sure that someone else is doing the blog entries, if you know what I mean, said Neptune slyly, causing If to roll her eyes. Don't ruin my image any more than you need to. We'll see, still waiting until you cash in our pudding at the moment of truth, said Naruto with a smirk. Well, sorry for being such a strong follower, said If. Let's just go inside, okay, said Kampa with a sweat drop. The group went inside the Basilicom and could already tell that interior differs just as much as the ones they went to before, seeing an elderly man with white hair and beard while dressed in a leaf green robe of an archbishop. My oh my, what a lively group of adolescents we have here today. My name is Ivoire, so what is it that brings you here? Asked the archbishop. We came to see the CPU, is she around? Asked Neptune. Oh, I'm sorry, the meeting time with the CPU is done for today. Really, total bummer man, said Naruto in disappointment. Come on, won't you just let us have a tiny peek? Neptune insisted. It's our fault for being late, Nep, we'll just come again tomorrow at an earlier time, said If. Giving up so quickly, Iffy? I thought you were all over the goddess. If was taken aback by that, what? Me? Why yeah, but this isn't the right place to say such a thing. Out of all of us, you're the most taken with the goddess Iffy-chan, Naruto pointed out to her. He's not wrong, said Gatchman. Let's just tour the city to while away the time before coming back tomorrow, Kampa suggested. Neptune shrugged in response, okay Kampa, and by the way Mr. Eveler. That's Ivoire to you, young lady, said Ivoire. Do you know anything about a key fragment? Wait, did you really get my name? It'd really help us if you know, Mr. Evilist, said Kampa politely. Did my name just get worse? No need to sweat the semantics, Mr. Oliver, Naruto waved a hand. That's not even my name. Neptune presented the key fragment to Ivoire. By the way, it looks just like this. Have you seen it? Well, 70 years of my life and I've never seen anything like it before, said Ivoire, but our goddess may know as she has lived for much longer. Really? Then that means that the goddess must be an old hadash. Neptune's mouth was clamped shut courtesy of an exasperated If. Let's just leave before you say anything that would land us in trouble, said If. What was she going to say? Asked Arisman. Something very offending, Gatchman replied. Thank you for your time, we'll come by tomorrow, said Kompa as Naruto proceeded to shove Neptune out of the room quickly until they were out and If was the last to exit. What was the holdup, Ifi-chan? Asked Naruto. I bumped into someone, an evangelist to be exact, said If. You need to be more careful, said Kompa as they continued on their way, not noticing a small smile graced the lips of said hooded evangelist. As they were soon in the midst of the city, Neptune was the one to ask about their next move. So what do we do now? I heard that there's a great cafe in a town nearby that's serving sublime scones, If suggested. If Iffy says so then it must be good, I want to go there too, said Kompa. Well, I've never eaten scones before so this would be the best chance for me to try some out, said Naruto. With how those villagers treated you, it's no wonder naive fools K9 muttered quietly to himself. Can't say no to some good eating, said Neptune excitedly. If nodded in affirmation, then it's settled. There should be a horse carriage that should take us there. The group set out with If and lead towards where the carriages are and begun their inquiry, but the response wasn't exactly what they were expecting to hear. What do you mean the carriage isn't running? Well, we can't send them out with all those monsters running around, said the carriage driver. Ugh, this monster issue is really causing problems, said Naruto with a frown. So can you tell us how we can get to the neighboring town? Asked Kompa. The carriage driver closed his eyes thoughtfully. The only way to go there is through the dungeon area. Oh no. Sorry for the trouble, but I have to get back to work now. Iffy, what do you want to do? It isn't that far off, so let's just walk there, said If with a shrug of the shoulders. We could also use this to level up and find some useful materials while we're at it, said Naruto. Okay then, but speaking of, do you know the way there? Asked Kompa. Oh right, guess we'll just have to ask someone for directions, said If. Then in that case, you two go that way while Naru and I go this way, said Neptune before grabbing Naruto's hand and pulling him along. Hey Nep-chan, take it easy, said Naruto. Nep really likes dragging him everywhere, doesn't she? Said Kompa with a sweat drop. That's saying something, Kompa, said If, crossing her arms and feeling a bit irked at this. Slow down Nep-chan. Naruto managed to regain his balance as he walked beside Neptune. No can do Naru, those scones are calling for and we're gonna answer, said Neptune with gusto. Quite an odd source of motivation, said Gatchman with a sweat drop. Well, If made it sound like those scones are really tasty, said Arisman. And I've just spotted a potential holder of information. Neptune dragged Naruto yet again as they approached someone with their back turned towards them before she called out, hello there, can I bother you for a moment? The person turned around to reveal to be a girl in her mid-teens with long dark gray hair which reaches halfway down her back. She wears a red and black strapless sports br, a torn blue GI pants that has a red flame design on the bottom of the left leg. They're tied to her waist with a red and black martial arts belt as the pants are ripped to where the right leg is only covered, revealing her strppd blue and white panty as Naruto forced himself to look upwards from that point, and she appears to be barefooted with a pair of silver anklets on her right ankle. The girl also wears a pair of black fingerless gloves with red cestus gloves with 6 silver spikes on each hand, and a silver charm with the name Tekken in all caps attached to 2 chains is worn like a necklace. Huh? You mean me? Asked the girl rather shyly. Yes, we want to go to a town near here. Could you give us some directions please? Asked Naruto. Oh, just go south and then head straight. You can't miss it, said the girl. Then she reached into her pocket and brought out a map. Here, take this map since I don't need it anymore. Thanks a lot, we really appreciate it, said Neptune cheerfully. Naruto took the map with Gatchman pulling down the magnifying glass device over his eye to scan the map before transferring the data to the G-pad. Then they noticed that the girl was looking at Neptune rather intently. Is there something the matter? Are you Neptune? Asked the girl. That's me. The girl suddenly smiled brightly at that. I knew it, I'm so happy to meet you. You know me? Yes I do, but to be exact I know a Neptune from a different world. Then that means you also know someone called Mages. Right? Asked Naruto. Yes, she and I along with a few others were in a party with Neptune. My name is Tekken, pleased to meet you, said the now revealed Tekken. Same here Tekken, and this is my buddy Naruto with his pets Arisman and Gatchman, said Neptune with Naruto nodding in agreement. Hey you two, don't go bothering the passerbys too much, if called out to them from a distance. Sorry, looks like Iffy is calling us, thanks for the map and we hope to see you again. See you around, Tekken-chan, said Naruto as they began to leave. Goodbye, hope to see you again, said Tekken. It looks like both Neptune and Iffy are friends in this world too, and I'm sure Kampa is with them too, though meeting Naruto is a first for me. I hope to see them again. The group prepped themselves up before following the map which lead them to the entrance of the dungeon called MS Mountain. They began their trek through the area and ran into new monster like the Apledom, X-Dogs, and WD heads which were rather strong, but Gatchman was quick to scan for weak points and succeeded in taking them out along the way. As always, Arisman was putting his treasure hunter ability to good use and found a ripped mock idea chip, wide market idea chip, whilst Naruto himself came across a plan for creating a healing drink with some more materials for the other plans already in his possession. A couple of battles later, they leveled up a few times and Gatchman unlocked a passive ability called Scout which enabled him to scope out the location of every monster in a dungeon. A brief glance at the scanned map on the G-pad alerted them that they were drawing close to the other side of the dungeon. Phew, we're almost there. I was wondering how long we were going to keep walking, said Neptune, using a sleeve to wipe the sweat off her forehead. Yeah, and I'm really tired. Can we rest for a bit? Asked Kampa tiredly. It might be a little dangerous should monsters attack us while we're resting, said If with a small frown. No worries, I'm currently scoping out the area and there are no monsters nearby, said Gatchman with a wave of his claw. Then it's safe for us to rest, said Naruto. In that case, we can take a 5-minute break, said If. Hey there folks, they turn towards a voice belonging to a man dressed as a missionary who approaches them with a friendly wave. Hello there, can I speak to you for a moment? That depends, said Naruto with a small frown, wondering where this guy came from since they would have encountered him along the way through the dungeon. Do you folks believe in Overlord Momus? Asked the man. This caused question marks to appear over everyone's head excluding the one asking, with Neptune being the first to speak. Mamory? No, Momus, said the man. Overlord Mamory? I've never heard of it, have you two heard of it? Asked If. Kampa shook her head. I've never heard of Overlord Mustard. Same here, first time hearing of Overlord Mumu, said Naruto with a shrug of his shoulders. For some strange reason, that name sounds familiar, said Model X thoughtfully. It's Momus, M-O-M-U-S, said an exasperated man. Anyways, I'm a messenger sent to spread the word of the Overlord. Well, we're not interested since we believe in the goddesses, said If. Just hear me out for a bit, Overlord worship is actually fun, the messenger persisted. Dude, she said we're not interested and we aren't, said Naruto with a frown. Arisman spoke up from the hood he was nestled in. Yeah, no means no. Here, let me give you this. A special Overlord limited set. The messenger proceeded to hand out items to them. Here's a mug with the Overlord logo that would make the coffee taste heavenly the moment it's poured into it. Also included are the Overlord Momus trading cards, blah 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 Overlord BGM CDs, blah 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 Overlord posters, Overlord keychains, blah 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 Overlord t-shirts, blah blah blah. Naruto's eyes were twitching as annoyance with each product named as the guy kept yammering on and on, fighting back the urge to shut him up with a punch to the kisser. This was reminding him of those door-to-door salesmen he sees in movies and cartoons which he finds very annoying whenever they show. Alright, enough already, all this aren't useful to us anyways. Plus, the author can't take any more of this, said Neptune rather loudly. Blah blah blah, and best of all, it's completely free, so here's one for each of you. The messenger practically shoved the items into their hands. My grandpa taught me that nothing is free, so you can take them back, said Kampa. A very sound advice. These won't serve any use to us, said Gatchman. No strings attached, you can have them. I've gotta go, take care now. The messenger ran off before they could get another word in. What are we going to do with all this? Asked If. Toss it into the nearest trash can, that's what, said Naruto with a scowl, all this not only annoyed him but he felt something wrong about it too. He noticed Neptune examining some of the items. What are you doing, Nep-chan? Those things aren't really useful to us right now. Well, since we're resting, I wanted to see what else is in here, but doesn't this BGM CD look kinda familiar? Gatchman peered at the CD with his magnifying glass device only to gasp with shock. That's no BGM CD, that's a monster disc. Upon hearing that, Naruto reached into his package and took out the disc to examine. He's right, it really is a monster disc. The disc in Neptune's hand started to shine. Oh, it's starting to shine, and she wasn't the only one. Ours are shining too, said Kompa worriedly. That guy, he tricked us, said If with a scowl. The monster discs glowed brightly before the monsters appeared before them, with Gatchman and K9 scanning to identify them as two lightbulb angels, a boomerang, and an apeldom for the group. It's transformation time, Nep, said Kompa urgently as she brought out her syringe. Aye, sir. Neptune saluted before transforming into her HDD form. Let's hurry and get rid of them and report back to the Basilicom. It would be a disaster these were placed in the city. No doubt about that, said Naruto, summoning the Monadu and taking a combat stance. Music start, Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, Trunks theme. I'll start things off, Demon Flames. If channeled her energy to trigger multiple explosions of flames around the monsters before combining to create one large final fiery explosion for maximum damage. Neptune swiftly flew past towards the boomerang and slashed at it rapidly with her katana, but one of the lightbulb angels launched a magic slash attack with Naruto intercepting to deflect it as he had foreseen it before they backed away from any further attacks. The apeldom casted a skill at the boomerang, which then launched a blast attack to land a rather strong hit on If, who winced in pain from the contact. Gatchman frowned at this and moved to investigate. This requires analysis, deep search. A matrix of numbers could be seen streaming through the visual device as he looked at each of the monsters before speaking. The apeldom provides status buffs and the lightbulb angels are capable of healing. No wonder that last attack had more bite to it, said If with a frown. Thanks for the heads up, but two can play at that game, said Naruto as he swiped his hand over the screen of the Monadu to change from blue to violet with a change in the kanji. Monadu enchant. The weapons of the party were shrouded in a violet aura. Naru, what did you just do? Asked Kompa confusedly. I just used the Monadu arts, enchant, to enhance the attack power of our weapons, Naruto replied before charging at one of the lightbulb angels and skidded to a stop before it with the Monadu raised high above his head. Mighty cleave. Then he brought it down with massive force onto the monster that it formed a crater from the impact and disappeared. Naruto stood back and frowned slightly as the skill required a decent amount of energy to be used before turning to assist the others. I won't lose now, critical edge. Neptune rushed up to the boomerang and attacked with diagonal slash, then followed it up with an uppercut to launch it into the air before moving at blurring speed for a final slash to take it out. The lightbulb angel was about to cast a healing spell when it got blindsided by a yellow blur, revealing to be Erisman, who had used his Kenzen dive to interrupt its skill. The monster was about to attack with its magical slash, but Gatchman attacked with his Gatch Claw attack after using his weak point search to locate its weakness so as to land a critical hit, and Kompa was quick to in and finish it off with her syringe. It's just left with you now and you're all mine. If swooped in and slashed consecutively with her venom claws, which she had purchased during their resting PRD, and managed to poison the apeldom with one of her strikes before moving away with a backflip. It's all over, La Delphinus. She channeled her energy to activate her skill as the apeldom was engulfed in a pillar of holy light and was nowhere in sight when the technique ended. Music end. That would have taken a bit longer if not for the power boost, said Neptune with a slight frown. Well, let's break these discs before they generate any more monsters. If took the discs and was about to break them. Ah! Neptune suddenly blinked in realization. What's the matter, Nep-chan? Asked Naruto confusedly. My original form wanted to break the discs so. Oh right, I completely forgot, said If. I recall that you wanted to do so back at last station, but more broke it first, said Gatchman. Well, I'll let you break them next time if I don't forget again, said If. Then she broke the discs into pieces. Now let's head back to the Basilicom and let them know what's going on. You guys think that Avenir or Arfoire have something to do with this? Asked Naruto thoughtfully. It's possible, but we're gonna need proof for that or no one's gonna believe us, said If. This bodes ill, Naruto. I advise that you remain vigilant, said Model Z with Model X nodding in agreement. Neptune reverted to her normal form with a sigh of disappointment. Oh phooey, and I was looking forward to those scones too. We could always get some after this Nep, said Kampa assuredly. Okay. They quickly went back the same way they came from in order to resolve the current matter at hand. Unknown to them is that someone had been watching them this whole time before and after the fight. Is it okay? Asked the Momus messenger. He was currently speaking to an evangelist who apparently is the same one If had bumped into back at the Basilicom. Yes, Overlord Momus should be pleased, said the woman with a sly smile. Then, can I get a stamp on my stamp card? As promised, the man held out said card in anticipation. Yes, here you go. Does it look good? Finally, I can get that plush, ultra-soft Overlord hugging pillow now. So where will you be going to next, lady conversation? I'll be heading to the Leanbox Basilicom. Now I have proof that Neptune summoned monsters and that the boy is her vassal. Naruto along with the girls and Digimon were back at Leanbox after their experience with the so-called Overlord Momus follower who had hidden monster discs inside the merchandises forced onto them. If was currently browsing on her phone to check up on some info and has a frown on her face with what she's reading. This may be worse than I expected, said If with a frown. What is it? Asked Harassman from atop Naruto's head. I've been researching, and it looks like Overlord worship is spreading. But I've never heard of this Overlord person before, said Kampa with concern. And how they got their hands on monster discs and hiding them in their merchandise is bugging me this whole time, said Naruto with his arms crossed and in thought. Not to mention the rate at which this religion spreads requires concern as well, said Gatchman, having browsed through the net as well for information on the matter. Well, we better head to the Basilicom and let them know what's going on, said If, getting nods of agreement from the others. Then let us be off to do the good deed like the heroes we are, said Neptune, taking the lead to the Basilicom and called out as they entered, Hey Mr. Evil Blabla, we're back. Kampa herself got caught up in the moment, we're here again. The elderly man soon appeared before them, hello again, is there anything urgent you need? Yeah, it's very urgent. We met someone calling himself a messenger of Momus, said If, wanting to get down to business. What? Ivoire was surprised by the news. We were invited to join them and got discs that made monsters, said Kampa. What? Discs that make monsters? Please, explain further. If nodded in understanding, of course, let me first explain the source of all these monsters appearing. She proceeded to give details about the monster discs. Ivoire frowned thoughtfully at all this, to expect a simple disc being of such danger. Innocent lives are at stake should these discs continue to be distributed. Can you help us put a stop to them, said Naruto, hoping to receive a positive response. Yes, we can't have something like lastation happen here. Lastation? Kampa blinked in confusion and she wasn't the only one. I hardly recall anything being said about lastation, said Model X. You're right, it's rather odd for him to know about what happened in lastation when this is the first time he's hearing of monster discs, said Model Z. Naruto heard what the biometals said and had to agree with them. I will immediately inform Lady Greenheart concerning this matter. As an appreciation, I would like to invite you all to dinner tonight, said Ivoire. Neptune's eyes sparkled at the sound of food. Mr. VERYYYY, you're the best. We get to stuff ourselves with food. VERYYYY. Oh, and will the goddess come to dinner too? Our lady is very busy, so I cannot assure you of that, but she may attend. If perked up at that, really. I hope we meet the lady, said Kampa. Well, I'll need to prepare, so come back later when the sun goes down, said Ivoire. Then we might as well while away the time in the city before coming back here, said Naruto with a shrug of his shoulders. If we have time, we could get some rooms over at the inn, said Kampa. I almost forgot, may I ask for Miss if to stay for a moment, asked Ivoire. If was confused at the request, me. Yes, there is something I wish to discuss with you. Okay then, we go on ahead Ifi-chan. We'll meet up at the inn later on, said Naruto before he along with Neptune and Kampa left the basilicom. The group made their way to the city and rented some rooms for their lodging, before heading out to a cafe to have a snack but not that much less they won't have an appetite for tonight's dinner. Later on, they made their return to the inn and were lazing about while waiting for If to return. Neptune was sprawled out on a bed and wondering if they would be serving pudding during dinner when she looked upside down to see Naruto sitting at a desk with Gatchman as a trio of blue holographic screens hovered before them. Hey Naru, what ya doing? Asked Neptune. Well, I received a plan from a guy called Slayer during our roaming through the city. Harrisman luckily had the materials required thanks to his treasure hunt ability, Naruto replied, glancing at the aforementioned Digimon who is currently taking a nap on the bed. What are you going to make? We're about to find out, said Gatchman. Naruto read the plan displayed on the left holoscreen. Okay then, we've got, Illegal Memory X3, Mystery Red Ball X3, and Box Birdwing X4, Naruto placed the materials into the right holoscreen, now executing the process. The center holoscreen displayed a loading bar until it reached a 100%, then it displayed a high-tech sword hilt protracting a blue energy beam in the shape of a single-edged blade and then name below it was Beam Katana Beta. Hohoea, it's an actual lightsaber, said Neptune with stars in her eyes as Naruto materialized it onto the desk with the holoscreens disappearing. Technically, it's a beam katana despite the likeness, Gatchman clarified, apparently it possesses higher stats compared to the Armas test model. It's somehow similar to your Z-Saber, said Model X. Yes, though this one is more of a prototype, said Model Z. Reminds me more of the sword of the Thunder God once belonging to the second Hokage K9 muttered to himself. Naruto took the weapon and held it out to Neptune. Here you go Nep-chan, as much as I would like to have it, I kinda have a couple like it already. Really? Yay! Neptune happily took it and activated the energy blade with a whoosh. I am now one with the force thanks to you Naru. She deactivated the weapon and hugged Naruto who was surprised at the sudden show of affection. That's very nice of you Naru, said Kampa fondly. Why yeah, Naruto blushed in response. The blonde ninja-to-be went to relax on the bed whilst making sure not to disturb Harrisman before opening up his G-pad and checking out the Leanbox Guild forum for any useful information. He frowned as he saw a few referring to the Overlord Momus and how several are really getting into it. He shrugged them off for now and read about the Colosseum where high-level adventurers would take part to face strong enemies and receive rare rewards. He looked at the time and saw that it was getting rather late and if has yet to return, Ifi-chan's taking a while to get back. Maybe Ifi went someplace else before coming here after the basilicom, said Kampa albeit feeling a bit worried. Or maybe Ifi just went to see Lady Greenheart in secret, said Neptune playfully. Kampa's sweat dropped at that. Ifi's a fan of Lady Greenheart, but I don't think she would do something like that. It depends on how much of a fan she is. I've seen several fans bordering on obsession back home but I'm sure she isn't like that, Naruto spoke while still reading the forum. That was when the door opened and If came looking rather cheerful than normal. I'm back. Welcome back Ifi, said Kampa. Neptune was pouting though. You kept us waiting Ifi. Sorry about that, Mr. Evil Watch's name talked my ears off, said If apologetically. Yawn what was the talk about, asked the now awake Harrisman. Something about the universe contracting or expanding or something. Ifi was rather nervous with her answer. That is a rather strange subject for a conversation, said Gatchman with a small frown. Oh really? We were guessing that you went looking for Lady Greenheart's room, said Neptune teasingly. If reacted rather comically with her waving her arms in panicking denial. What? I would never do such a thing. Your reaction is rather suspicious, Ifi-chan, said Naruto with a quirked eyebrow, making her panic even more. Really? I didn't do that, let's just get ready for the dinner tonight. If rushed to the bathroom before anything more could be said. That was weird, said Kampa. I couldn't agree more, said Model Z. And so, our heroes have arrived at the party, said Neptune. Kampa stared at Neptune in confusion. What was that narration for? She glanced at the long table which had numerous platters of food with the aromas wafting through the air and enticing her along with the others to take a bite out of any of them. The food looked so good. Preaching to the choir here, Kampa-chan. Naruto was barely restraining himself from lunging at the food till given the go-ahead. Ivoire came to sit at the table. Well, hello there, are you enjoying the meal? We were just about to dig in, said Neptune, already grabbing a plate. I know. Can you recommend us something? There's just so much to choose. Asking someone is the key to eating the right food. I'm glad you asked. Let me recommend the food coming out right now, said Ivoire as a maid come walking in with a platter covered in a serving dome. This here is the Dog Gang Muck Special, Truffle Caviar Delight. The maid took off the serving dome to reveal which is appealing to the eye and potentially delicious once tasted, made with fine local ingredients only available here in Lean Box. Neptune was drooling at this. Now that's my Lean Box, this is going to be good. Excuse me, which is this? Naruto was pointing at a particular food which he couldn't tear his eyes away from. That would be the tomato and mozzarella spaghetti bake, yet another recommendation of mine, said Ivoire. In other words, ramen's distant cousin. It would be rude of me to not have a bite. Naruto began spooning the food into his plate with a gleeful look. So, none of the chefs did anything else right? Asked If with a smile, but a few noticed something different about the expression. Is there something that she knows but we don't? Thought K9. Who cares? I'm taking the big piece. Neptune scooped the food onto her place before raising a piece to her mouth. Here I go. IF's eyes widened in shock as she saw Naruto and Neptune about to take a bite. Wait, you two, don't eat it. But she was too late as they had already done so. What are you going on about, Ifi-chan? Asked Naruto with a quirked eyebrow. Did I think wrong or something? Said If with a small frown. What are you tal dash? Naruto heard a thud and looked to see Neptune having fallen off her chair and laid on the ground unmoving. Nep-chan. What happened to Y dash? He suddenly felt his entire body go numb, which was soon followed by pain, causing him to collapse to the ground, and was fighting a losing battle to retain his consciousness. Naruto. Harassman and Gatchman went to check on the blonde, clearly worried for their human friend. What happened to you and Neptune? K9 checked up on Naruto's status and his eyes narrowed at what he's seeing. He's been poisoned. And I suspect the same for Neptune. Kampa gasped upon hearing that. Poison. If turned to glare at Ivoire. Evil, I don't carry on him. You did this, didn't you? You poisoned Nep and Naruto. How could you? Asked Harassman. Exactly, but now we know that they are tainted with evil, said Ivoire as a matter of factly. Poison can't be able to tell between good and evil, of course they would be affected. Nep. Naru. Can you hear me? Please say something, said Kampa in worry, but Neptune remained unconscious and Naruto could barely lift his head now. Men. Capture these four, they are followers of Overlord Momus. Ivoire snapped his fingers for the guards to come rushing into the room. Followers of Overlord Momus? Where did he get such an idea? Asked Model X in shock. Apparently someone's been giving him false information about us, said Model Z. The guards immediately moved in to restrain both Kampa and If, who struggled to free themselves to help Neptune and Naruto, but to no avail. The Digimon were about to help, but some of the guards shot them with stun guns, knocking them out. Stop this is all a horrible mistake. If protested. That hurts, let go. I need to help Nep and Naru, said Kampa pleadingly. Darn it, need to move, but I feel so weak. Naruto couldn't resist anymore and finally lost consciousness. Stay in prison. Your faith should be cleansed by the time you are released, said Ivoire as he watched the guards carried the accused away. The evangelist was right all along, it was fortunate that I heeded her advice. Later on, down below at the dungeons, If, Kampa and the still unconscious Neptune were locked away in a cell while Naruto and the Digimon were locked up in a separate cell before being left behind despite pleading to help Naruto and Neptune with their current conditions. Iffy, how long have we been here? Asked Kampa sadly. About 3 hours, I can't make a call since I can't get a signal down here, said if in frustration before looking down at Neptune. Is there anything you can do for her? You're aspiring to become a nurse, right? Kampa looked down at the ground. I wish I could help, but I'm just a nurse and she needs a doctor. I can't bring myself to think about how Naru is being locked up elsewhere. The pinkette sniffled, trying not to cry. I'm so sorry, I can't help when you two are in so much pain. If clenched her fists tightly as tears brimmed at the edge of her eyes. This is all my fault. I was so caught up with Lady Vert that I forgot all about the poison. She closed her eyes, trying not to let the tears flow. Please someone help Lady Vert. Did you call Iffy? A feminine voice suddenly spoke up. If looked up and her eyes widened in shock at who's at the other side of the door. Your dash. Naruto let out a pained groan before opening his eyes as he looked around to see that he was in some kind of fancy room as he saw various figurines, posters, and other collectibles from different series of games, anime and manga. He looked further to see that Neptune was laying down on a couch like he currently is with If and Kampa apparently talking with someone else. She is an adult woman with a buxom figure and dark blue eyes. She has wavy blonde hair which goes down to her waist in length and her fringe is kept just above her eyes, and she has 3 sets of bangs, first going down to her upper jaw, second, upper neck, third, chest length. Her attire is a green and peach-colored dress, with the top being a dark green that has gold lining on it, and being sleeveless, as well as revealing a considerable portion of her melons, covered through a veil of sorts. She has a ribbon on her neck which is red in color and has detached upper arm portions of her dress's sleeves and has frilled gloves on her hands. I wonder who she is. I gotta admit that she's appealing, thought Naruto as he gradually sat up, being able to endure the pain coursing through his body, and listened into the conversation. Lady Vert, how did you know we were caught? Asked If, making Naruto's eyes widen in shock upon learning that she's the goddess of Leanbox. I am a goddess, so it was easy to find out who was in attendance today. I was going to skip the party so I could finish my backlog of games, but I saw your name Iffy, so I went in and saw all the commotion. If sweat dropped at the explanation. I heard you were busy, but was that because? Why yes, I wanted to play my backlogs and I had missions to clear online. Playing games and chatting online is more fun than some boring old party, said Vert with a bright smile. Iffy is the goddess of Leanbox, dare I say? Asked Kampa awkwardly. If sighed in resignation. Yeah, a hardcore gamer. Looks like I lost the bet with Nep and Naruto. And we expect our payment of pudding when this is over. Everyone turned around to see Naruto sitting up with a pained smile. Naruto. Harassment leapt Naruto and hugged him tightly with a sniffle. I'm so glad you're awake. Are you okay, Naru? Asked Kampa with concern. I'm hanging in there, but I'm not back up to speed though, Naruto wincing slightly from the poison. No doubt, my scan shows poison still in your body, said Gatchman, pushing his magnifying glass-like device back up to his helmet. Excuse me, I believe we haven't properly met, Vert spoke up. True that, the name's Naruto Uzumaki. It's nice to meet you, said Naruto with a friendly wave while Harassment sat on his lap. Vert giggled in response. Well, it certainly is nice to meet a little cutie like you. Naruto would have blushed if he weren't poisoned at the moment. And you say her name is Nep? It's her nickname actually, but her real name is Neptune, said Harassment. Vert blinked in surprise. She's Neptune? I hope she doesn't react negatively, thought Naruto. Anyhow, I sure some of you are hungry, so let me serve some tea and pastries. Vert then walked off to do just that. I wonder if this is what Kiba meant to feel sick. I guess he's right, being sick sucks big time, thought Naruto. How could this be possible? He should have recovered from the poison by now. The chakra should have purged it off his system. K9 muttered to himself within the G-pad. During tea time, the group told Vert exactly what had happened since their arrival to Leanbox till now. Needless to say, Vert was truly displeased to hear all this and was quite audible about it. I can't believe Ivor did that, and this Momus messenger must be stopped before anyone could get hurt, said Vert with a frown, but our top priority will get to acquire an antidote to cure Naruto and Neptune of the poisoning. Do you have any ideas concerning the poison? Asked Gatchman, urgently wanting to help Naruto. It seems like the poison you were used on Neptune is from the ancients, Vert explained. Amazing Lady Vert, you must have great knowledge about poisons, said Compa happily. Oh my, I don't really have such knowledge. I simply searched it online while everyone was talking. I also posted it to 765 chan and a pro answered it in seconds. Gatchman crossed his arms with a pout. I could have done that too. Wow, I never would have thought that the goddess would be this accomplished, said Compa with a sweat drop. Same going for if. I actually find it kinda cool, Naruto admitted, recalling stuff like Spy Network and stuff which he often found Shikamaru playing from time to time. Is it just me or did Compa and Iffy put some distance between me, said Vert. Oh of course not, we were just surprised, said If awkwardly. So were there any detox methods? Yes, but it requires an ingredient from a monster in order to make the antidote. If smiled at that sounds right up our alley, let's go Compa. Compa nodded in affirmation, yesy. Then I'm sure you wouldn't mind if I came along, said Vert, surprising the others. You wish to come with us, Lady Vert? But why? Asked If in confusion. Well, the default number of a party is 3 and since 2 are currently out of commission, I'd like to fill in the 3rd slot and show you my pro skills, said Vert with a smile. But if Lady Vert come with us, there'll be no one to look after Nep and Naru, said Compa with concern. Don't go counting me out, I'm coming along too, Naruto spoke. You can't come with us, not while you're still poisoned, said If in refusal. Listen to them, right now your overall stats have been cut in half and you won't be able to use your SP attacks with your chakra fighting against the poison, said K9. Not to mention that you won't be able to mega merge with us either, said Model X. Then I'll just battle in a different way. I can have Harassman and Gatchman take to the offense while I serve as the support. This way I won't fight directly while using the battle pet system, said Naruto. But Naruto, Compa protested against this. I'm not going to sit around and do nothing while watching Nep-chan be in pain. I'm coming with and you're not going to change my mind. You can leave it to us, we'll make sure that Naruto never gets hurt, said Harassman with determination. I agree, I shall put my abilities in overclock, said Gatchman. Era, it's quite manly of you despite your condition, said Vert with a giggle. In that case, I'll have my pet watch over Neptune while we're gone. A pet? Said Model Z in confusion. The group made their way to the entrance of the Marabako forest where the monster which they were looking for is often located. The pet whom Vert spoke was known as Ranran, whom Naruto's perspective is a little girl wearing a light green dress and a white pig mask on her face, and for some strange reason could tell that she was using emoticons in her speech but chose to overlook it for the sake of his mental health since his physical health is already having issues of its own. Here we are, the monster we're searching for can be found deep inside the forest, said Vert, wielding a spear in hand. Then let's hurry and get the extract, said If. Compa turned to Naruto with worry, are you sure you'll be okay? I'll be just fine since Harassman and Gatchman will be taking my place in the front lines, said Naruto. He flicked his wrist for the G-pad to flip open and tapped a few buttons for the battle pet system to come online and the Digimon felt the connection. We're ready, said Harassman with gusto. Good to go, said Gatchman. Better watch yourself, your body is still fighting against the poison so don't push it, said K9. Naruto nodded in affirmation, got it. The group began their venture through the dungeon. Harassman's treasure hunter ability was in play as always as he found several hidden items being Lily Corsage accessory for Vert, infrared comm idea chip, action RPG idea chip, etc. They even found a plan for a suspicious bangle accessory which Naruto stored away for later. They also encountered monsters several times being Boxbird, Metal Dagu, and Aluna. Vert displayed the reason why she was a goddess of lean box as she defeated the monsters with graceful strikes of her spear. Harassman and Gatchman weren't being idle either but very aggressive in battle and making sure that no monster would target Naruto, who was using the battle pet system to grant stat buffs to pull through. We came quite far but I don't see Mr. Monster here, said Compa. I'm sure we're on the right track, Compa-chan, I'm sure we'll run into it, said Naruto assuredly. But with the monsters roaming around here, I think it's best we get what we need and zip out, said If. Lady Vert, you won't change forms like the other goddesses? Asked Compa. "Oh, do you mean my hard drive divinity?" asked Vert curiously. "I'd love to see your HDD form," said If, hoping to see just that. Vert smiled apologetically at that. Now this poses a problem since HDD does require a lot of power. Vert-chan does have a point there, plus these monsters are pretty much small fry if Harassment and Gatchman can handle, Naruto pointed out. Though if Iffy or Naruto were to call me Verdi or Vertvert, something might happen. If was shocked by the request, give my lady a nickname, but that's disrespectful. But Naruto calls me Vert-chan. Vert-chan said we're friends, plus I don't really like being formal, said Naruto with a shrug of his shoulders. Vert nodded happily in agreement, you see. So, give it a try. IF's face was beet red as she made the attempt, VERYYYY. Yes, just a little more. Excuse me, Kompa spoke up. Yes, is there something the matter? Or is it that you want to call me by a nickname too, asked Vert. That's not the reason, she's trying to tell you that there's a monster right behind you, said Gatchman whilst pointing at said monster. Behind me? Vert turned around to see a giant monster hovering before them with K9 quickly. Identifying it to be a forest whale with a horn and 2 antennas. Oh, how fortunate, this is exactly what we're looking for. This was a surprise for If, when Mr. Monster came by when you both were flirting with each other, said Kompa. Naruto quietly snickered at the statement before flipping his G-pad to prepare for battle with the Digimon at the ready. It's so cute to see Iffy in denial, but will to focus on the battle at hand, said Vert before brandishing her spear. Alright. If equipped her brisk katar and got ready as well. Music start, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2 OST, Power Rush. Allow me to provide insight, weak point search. Gatchman pulled down his magnifying glass-like device over his eye and proceeded to scan the forest whale. Intel acquired, it possesses high attack power and defense while an aqua type, beware of its venom attack and venom gas which could poison you. As if we didn't have enough problems with poison already, Naruto muttered lowly, having to deal with his current situation. Alright then, let's get started. A 3D holographic touchscreen projected from the G-pad, depicting the statuses of the Digimon in split screens and the bottom section containing several icons for use, inserting the power chip and speed plug-in, and executing. He dragged the icons to the Digimon as Harassment felt his speed increase and Gatchman felt the same in physical strength. Here I go, Kenzan dive. Harassment curled up into the spiky ball before launching himself at high speed and was rapidly striking the forest whale with consecutive hits while appearing as a yellow shooting star. I'm making a move as well, Gatch Claw. Gatchman shrouded his claws with blue energy before lunging at the monster and was punching with such force to make it stagger from the hits. Impressive to see such cute creatures give their all. Allow me to be involved as well. Vert twirled her spear and summoned a green magic circle next to her Silhet spear. A large wooden spiraled spear shot out and struck the forest whale, knocking it back as well. The monster retaliated by knocking the Digimon and attacked with a high crush attack for Vert to gracefully dodge with a twirl like a dancer. If rushed forward and lunged at the forest whale and unleashed a 6-hit combo with her brisk katar before performing a kickflip right before it attempted a high crush at her. Stay strong guys, executing Orvandil's arrow and app-link, Dokumen. Naruto inserted the next pair of programs for the Digimon, Lightning Fur. Harassment leapt and began shooting lightning-coated quills with greater accuracy than normal. Then 2 cables made out of blue energy shot out of the G-pad and connected themselves to the black cables on Gatchman's back, Dokken Punch. Then he flew towards the forest whale while surrounding himself with comet-like energy, then delivers a powerful punch to inflict greater damage. Looks like Harassment's attack dealt effective, now to add up. Los Delfinus. If called out with a wave of her hand, a blue magic circle appeared underneath the monster before a pillar of energy shot out to strike it strongly several times. The forest whale opened its mouth and spewed green gas at If, causing her to slump over with a sense of vertigo. Darn it, I've been poisoned. Hang on Iffy, I'm coming to help. Kompa immediately ran over to If. Leave this to me. She took out a syringe from her hip purse and injected an antidote which cured If of the poison much to her relief. Thanks, Kompa, said If gratefully. No problem. Vert was so pleased with what had just happened. You have some nerve to poison my cute Iffy, and you shall be punished with my EXE attack, Spiral Break. The goddess of Leanbox dashed forward at high speed to lance through the forest whale, then she turned around and unleashed a barrage of move attacks from multiple angles consecutively with only green flashes being seen. Vert was then seen a fair distance above the monster. May your sins be cleansed. She threw the spear at the monster, triggering an explosion of green energy around it. Whoa, so that was an EXE drive attack which I read about on the guild forums. Wish I could do that too, said Naruto, then he suddenly felt a sense of vertigo and went down on one knee. DMN it, not now. The poison is acting up again, said K9 urgently. Harassman looked back and gasped at the sight of Naruto's state. Naruto's in trouble. Gatchman turned around as well, but this was a grave mistake they made as the monster opened its mouth to launch a powerful blast of wind which sent them flying and crashed before Naruto. Harassman. Gatchman. Naruto looked up to see the forest whale glaring at them and clenched his fists in frustration, seeing the Digimon struggle to their feet in order to protect him. Darn it, there's gotta be a way to help us win this fight. There's too much at stake for us to lose, and here I am standing here poisoned and can't do a single thing. We must win. At that moment, the LCD screen of the G-pad lit up and a voice not belonging to K9 spoke up. Initiating Digivolution. Then pillars of white light shone over the confused Digimon as they began to glow as well as increase in size before the light dissipated to reveal two different Digimon in their place. Harassman had grown into a more humanoid body with his fur turning as his blonde quills to the point of appearing as a ponytail. His red claws were also lengthened with white bandages wrapped around his forearms and shins, and he now had yellow spikes growing out several parts of his body. Gatchman had also grown into a more humanoid form with yellow eyes. He wears white armor and a red jacket over it, as well as metallic shoes. The helmet has V-shaped horns and it has two green navigation pointers on its ears and two more at the waist while still having the two USB cables hanging from his back. Harassman, Gatchman, what happened to you two? Asked Naruto in wonder with the Digimon turning to respond to him. Apparently we were able to digivolve thanks to you. You can call me Gatchman while I'm in this form, said the current Gatchman with a nice smile. And I'm Filman while I'm like this. Now let's take this monster down, said the current Filman with a smirk. The beast Digimon rushed towards the forest whale at high speed, who launched another blast of wind only to evade it by leaping high into the air before diving down at it. Crimson Slash. Filman stretched his red claws out and began spinning rapidly to resemble a whirlwind before slamming into the forest whale to land consecutive slash attacks before somersaulting away from the monster as Gatchman stepped forward. Allow me, Gatch Buster. Gatchman held his hands forward close together as the pointers detached themselves from his body and hovered around the hands at 4 angles as blue energy gathered at the hands before firing a powerful blast at the monster, inflicting great damage. Filman, let's end this. Got it. Both Digimon lunged at the forest for the final assault. Sonic Slash. 2 pointers detached from Gatchman's hips and combined into a sword with a blade of blue energy protracting in between the gap before unleashing a powerful slash at the monster. Lightning Stinger. Filman landed on top of the forest whale, then skewered it with his crimson claws, then injected energy through them, inflicting critical damage from within. The forest whale couldn't take any more and let out a final wail of pain before dispersing into data and leaving behind what appears to be a large metal sea and forest extract, with the latter item being their reason for the battle. Music end. We have the ingredient for the antidote, though I must say that these two certainly surprised us, said Vert, smiling at the Digimon. Yeah, but I didn't get to see Lady Vert transform, said If in disappointment. I'm sure you'll see it one day. Kampa turned to a weary Naruto. This is exactly why we said that you stayed behind. The poison really is bothering you. Sorry, I just don't like not doing anything and wanted to help. But at least we got what we need thanks to Hey, where did Filman go? Naruto noticed that one of the Digimon wasn't there with them. Guess he's gone to look for something, given how his treasure hunter ability is boosted now in his champion form, Gatchman explained. Champion form? Asked Kampa confusedly. There are several stages for the life cycle of Digimon which are fresh, in training, rookie, champion, ultimate, and mega. I would like to say more but I believe we have important matters at the current moment. Yes, we need to return to make the antidote for Neptune and Naruto, said Vert. It was at that moment, when Filman leapt into the clearing and approached the group with a grin. Sorry I kept you all waiting, I found something pretty cool. We can check it out later, we need to get a move on, said Naruto tiredly, getting nods of affirmation before beginning their exit from the forested dungeon. Now that we have all of the ingredients for the antidote, can you help us Compa? Asked Vert, the group having returned to her room with Harassman and Gatchman reverted from their champion forms and sitting next to Naruto on the couch. I'm not a pharmacist, I can't make medicine thingies, said Compa sadly. Well, this poses a problem as I have no experience in medicine. But what about Ran? Ran is Ran, so I don't know, said the pig-masked girl. Compa, you're the only one remotely close to this field, please help us, said If. The Pinkette appeared unsure of herself, but... You want to save Neptune and help Naruto, right? Said Vert. I really do, but I'm not the right person. Why do you say that, Compa-chan? Asked Harassman. I kept it a secret, but I failed in nursing school, said Compa in depression. There's no way I could do something like this. Is that it? Asked If with a smile. Oh my, I actually thought it was something worse, said Vert. Huh? Compa blinked in confusion. It's not like we're going to let you bear the burden alone, If explained. Vert nodded in agreement. Yes, we will be assisting you all the way. I can speak for Neptune and myself that we believe in you 110%, said Naruto with a tired foxy grin. Compa was touched by how supportive everyone is for her, this made her heart swell with confidence. I'll do my best. Sometime later, the antidote was ready and Naruto was the first to drink it, which led to him making funny faces due to the bitterness and smell with everyone laughing at him. He personally swore to avoid anything which could make him sick so he wouldn't have to take in any more bitter medicine in the future. However, his recovery was almost instant as 5 minutes barely passed and he was his peppy self and his skin complexion was back to normal with K9 and Gatchman confirming his being cured. The blonde was overjoyed to the point of embracing Compa, who blushed pink from the closeness. I'm still surprised that the recipe for the antidote could be Googled, said Vert. Goes to show that the internet is a mass source of information, said Gatchman, having been the one to have done the search rather quickly. Well, now that we know the antidote is the real deal, let's have Neptune drink it next, said If. Compa held the cup of the antidote up to Neptune's. Okay Nep, open wide-eyed, however Neptune pursed her lips very tightly with hardly a gap for the medicine to seep through. She shut her mouth really tight, said Vert with a sweat drop. Well, it really stinks, so she must have closed her mouth instinctively, said If. Well, she's gonna drink that medicine one way or another, said Naruto. Bad Nep, if you don't drink your medicine then I'll pour it down your nose, said Compa sternly. She somehow sounds like a mother hen, said Model X. You got a point there, said Model Z. I know. In this kind of scene, you have to pass it mouth to mouth, said Vert excitedly. Emma mouth to mouth. If stammered with a blush on her cheeks. Yes, isn't it romantic? Like Snow White. Well, it wouldn't be romantic given how bitter and stinky the antidote is, Harassman pointed out. Well, does Lady Vert dream of being kissed by a prince? Asked Compa curiously. Of course, though I prefer my prince to be 2D. Oh, now all of you stop gazing at me with blank stares. Vert noted said looks and was rather uncomfortable with being the target. Ran can't comprehend, said Ran. I find this to be scientifically impossible, said Gatchman. Here I thought I've seen it all, said K9. Vert was taken aback from the response and turned to If and Naruto. Iffy. Naruto. Don't tell me you. If simply smiled. I didn't hear anything. And to think girls often call boys weird, Naruto muttered lowly. Exclamation point. Vert stood there in shock. Ran can confirm the Lady Vert is petrified with shock. Compa suddenly had an idea. I know. Nep should take antidote with her favorite pudding. Just like making a kid eat her vegetables, that could work, if in agreement. Actually, I have a much better idea which wouldn't ever require us to even lift a finger, said Naruto with a look of mischief. And what would that be? Asked Kampa. Naruto approached Neptune and leaned close to her ear and whispered for the others to hear as well, "Oh Neptune, if you don't drink the antidote, then I get to keep all of the week's worth of puddings from Ifi-chan and you won't have any." Immediately Neptune's mouth opened wide. Naruto gingerly took the antidote from Kampa and poured it in, then Naruto opened his G-pad and began recording as Neptune started making funny reactions to the taste and smell of the antidote. "You're so cruel Naruto," threatening Neptune's pudding, said if in amusement while Kampa was giggling. Naruto responded with a wide grin, "Hey, it was either that or I put a funnel in her mouth and poured the antidote in, so I chose the former." "We must admit that it's rather unorthodox," said Vert with a smile. "Guess we have to wait for the medicine to take effect," If muttered. Neptune suddenly sat up with an energetic smile. "Neptune, back in business." "Way out." If was flabbergasted, she could somehow understand Naruto recovering, but this one's way too fast. "I'm so glad you're okay Nep," said Kampa with teary eyes. Neptune looked rather apologetic. Sorry Kampa, guess I made everyone worry about me." "You weren't the only one, luckily we got help from Vert-chan and Ran," said Naruto, pointing at said persons. Neptune looked at them blankly before speaking up. Who are they?" "I guess we'll have to bring you up to speed with everything that happened." So, they proceeded to tell Neptune what happened since the poisoning at the dinner party to date, with Kampa finishing up. "So, Lady Vert helped us save you and Neru," said Kampa. "That wasn't hero-like for me to get poisoned, shame on me," said Neptune, rubbing the back of her head sheepishly. "Well, I doubt we were expecting anything like poisoning, since we thought that things were going okay for us." Unlike back at La Station, Naruto admittedly. If approached the duo with an apologetic look. "I'm sorry Naruto. All of this could have been avoided, but I couldn't do it." Neptune waved it off. You worry too much Iffy. Come at me like you always do. My puns and jokes are never the same without you playing the straight man or rather woman. Plus, you choose to stick with us instead of going along with Yvoire's plan, which just proves that you're an awesome friend, said Naruto happily. You guys, If smiled warmly at the two of them. And I owe thanks to you too, said Neptune towards Vert and Ran. Vert smiled in response. It was my pleasure, but you're a goddess too, so you should be more careful. Wait, you knew that Neptune is a goddess? Asked If, who was mildly surprised. Yes, from the very beginning. I'm getting the feeling that all of the goddesses know each other well, 3 at least, said Naruto with a shrug. You would be correct with that statement, Naruto-kun. But none of would need to worry, as I am not interested in the console wars. Really? Asked Kampa. Well, if she was an enemy then she wouldn't have helped us save Nepi, said Harassman. If wanted to know the reason, but why not? We fought for a long time by heeding the word we received, Vert explained. A word, what do you mean exactly? Asked Naruto with a quirked eyebrow. This is something different from the history he read back at Planeptune. We heed the word of the former goddess who created us. So, what you're saying is that the former goddess is like your mother, said Kampa. I never really saw her as much of a parent, but I suppose so, said Vert with an awkward smile, and to be honest, as long as I have my games, I could care less about being a god. That is certainly a way to lose interest in a war, said K9 with a sweat drop. What's your thought, Neptune? Do you wish to rule the world? Asked Vert with a serious expression. Neptune simply shrugged. Well, I'm not too sure, especially since I lost my memory. Vert was rather surprised to hear that. You lost your memory? Yeah, Kampa-chan and I were ones who found her back at Planeptune, Naruto explained. I actually learned that I'm a goddess from Noir when we went to La Station, said Neptune. You met Noir? Yeah, she didn't like Nepi at first but later became friends with all of us, said Harassman cheerfully. Noir has always been hard-headed, so I'm surprised you befriended her. Vert was actually impressed. It seems that I can trust you with what I wanted to speak of. Maybe an invitation to playing online? If so, then I'm selecting L for my class, said Neptune. I would choose an assassin or ninja if it's available, asked Naruto. Vert smiled but shook her head. I would love to invite you to my sessions, but it's something else entirely. What is it? Asked If. Well, it's it's gotten so late. Would it be okay if you could come tomorrow? I'm not sure, wouldn't the Basilicom try to arrest us again? Asked Kompa with concern. You don't need to worry about that, I'll have things sorted out by then. Then in that case, we'll come by in the morning. Naruto bade Vert goodnight before leaving with the others soon following after. Then he recalled something and turned to Harassment, tucked his hood. I remember you said that you found something back at the Marabako forest. What was it? It was some kind of attack lance and was stuck under a large rock, so I dug it out, but it was all dirty, said Harassment. Guess we can take a closer look at it later on. Vert was watching the group and let out a sigh with a dreamy look on her face. Iffy-chan and Naruto-chan look so cute, I just want to cuddle with them and play games with them all day long. Maybe I could have them try on a maid uniform and a butler uniform, but first, I'll need to give a certain old man a stern talking to, she giggled to herself. Naruto and If felt a cold chill run up their spine, and couldn't help but not want to find out the reason for it. The next morning, Naruto and the group were currently standing in front of the lean box Basilicom, but they aren't as enthusiastic to enter compared to the first time, no thanks to what happened yesterday. Here we are again, it feels weird to be back here after all that, said Kompa nervously. I'm sure Lady Vert has sorted out everything by now, said If assuredly. If you say so, Iffy-chan, but at the first sign of trouble, I'll bust out the hardware. Naruto crossed his arms with a small frown. Harassment and Gatchman were in agreement, as the Basilicom hurt their friends and are more than eager to retaliate should it happen again. The group went inside, albeit reluctantly. No sooner they were inside did Yvonne rush up to them, and the next thing they knew was that the elderly man went down on his hands and knees to bow to them. I am so sorry, please forgive me, said Yvonne, trembling for some reason. Wow, never thought that someone can be terrified from an apology, said Neptune. What's this all about? Asked If in confusion. Vert appeared with a smile on her face. Oh, Iffy and Naruto, I've been waiting for you too. I guess that everything is okay now. Yes indeed, you won't have to worry anymore. I asked Yvonne to never repeat such an action again, isn't that right, Yvonne? Yvonne shuddered in fear. Why yes, I will never do it again. Please forgive me. Whoa, he's really freaked out. Neptune was a bit weirded out by the man's current state of mentality. Naruto nodded in agreement. Yeah, the guy looks like he's seconds away from crawling to a corner to curl up into a fetal position and SCK on his thumb like a baby. I don't think I want to know how she asked him, said If nervously. Please don't, there are certain pieces of knowledge which isn't necessary to be acquired, said Gatchman. Now then, there's something of urgency that I must speak to you all of. Follow me to my room please, said Vert before leading the group away from traumatized Yvonne towards her room. They all sat down and awaited what Vert wanted to speak of. To be frank, I wanted to request your aid in retrieving my goddess powers. I wasn't expecting to hear something like this when I woke up this morning, but how did it happen? Asked If. Well, it was on a day when I was returning from an event which I attended secretly and was very tired with all the goods I bought. Then someone attacked me, and the next thing I knew was that my power was gone. I can relate, those kinds of events can really tucker one out, said Neptune, nodding in agreement. Seems to me like the person was spying on you and waiting for the right time to attack, Gatchman theorized. So, what happens when you lose your powers as a goddess? Asked Kompa curiously. Well, I start to age and I can use my hard drive divinity, Vert explained. That explains why you didn't use it before, said If. So does that mean you're a human now like Naruto and the others? Asked Harassment. Yes, which is why I need to get them back as soon as possible to prevent the aging process. Losing my beauty and unable to play future game titles is rather frightening to me, said Vert. Her reason for restoring her powers is quite eccentric, said Model X. Strange, but as long as it doesn't relate to war, I can look the other way, said Model Z. Well, we'll help you out since we need to repay you for helping Naruto and Nep out, said If. Do you have any clues to how we can find this person? Asked Naruto. Vert was about to answer when a phone started to ring. Hey Iffy, sounds like you got a call, Neptune pointed out. If shook her head however, it's not mine that's ringing. Actually, it's my phone. Give me a moment. Vert took a flip phone out from between her cleavage with Naruto looking away with a tinge of pink at the sight of the melons bouncing from the action. Hello there. Lady Vert, Ran Ran was the one calling on the phone. Oh Ran Ran, what's the matter? Ran Ran found the enemy. Wonderful work, where is she now? Ran Ran can see the enemy going to Loi, please hurry. Perfect timing, hold the enemy off until we arrive. Roger. Vert ended the call before turning to the group who were looking at her in confusion. What was that all about, and what is this about an enemy? Asked Neptune confusedly. Ran Ran spotted the person who stole my power, I'll explain along the way, Vert responded. Naruto hopped to his feet with a look of determination, then let's get moving. The group immediately set out of Lean Box and made their way to Halo Mountain where Ran Ran was calling from concerning the person responsible for stealing Vert's power. So how did you find out about the culprit? Asked If. Well that was easy, Ivor told me during our chat about a Loi missionary who goes by the name Conversation was the one pulling the strings, Vert explained. Have any of you met her? No I haven't, how about you guys? Asked If. I haven't met any missionary like her either, said Kompa. Me neither, Naruto seconded. But I've heard of a conveyor belt, said Neptune, receiving weird looks from the others. My intuition tells me that Conversation was the one who stole my powers. It was further reinforced when I learnt that she was the one who gave the poison to use on Neptune and Naruto, said Vert. That makes sense, Kompa and I weren't poisoned as well, said If thoughtfully. Which meant that she knew that Neptune is a goddess though I'm at a loss as to why Nero was targeted since he's human. Maybe it's because of my ability to transform into a Megaman thanks to the biometals. Naruto gestured to Model X and Model Z floating around him. Odds are that it could be someone working under CPU Lady Whiteheart, If speculated. Maybe so, but let's not forget that we stepped on a couple of toes along the way for people to bear a grudge against us like that which we met over at Planeptune and the Avenir Company in La Station, Naruto pointed out. Wow, this is starting to sound like an awesome adventure novel, said Neptune excitedly. But why was Nep and Nera targeted and Lady Vert was spared? Kompa wondered out loud. My guess is they knew that I held no interest in the console war, so they let me go, said Vert. I believe we should get moving since Ran Ran is currently holding the enemy at bay, Gatchman, receiving nods of affirmation from the rest before beginning the trek. The group hardly entered the first clearing when a couple of monsters appearing to confront them. 3 of them were floating Dago with tentacles and a walking radish. Gatchman quickly scanned the monsters for details before informing the party members. Those are high-heeled dogus and are known for their healing magic. The other is a radisher but watch out as they're all able to temporarily seal away your SP attacks, said Gatchman in alert. Gotcha, this could be the choice to bust out the new hardware. Naruto excitedly held out his hand to summon what appears to be a small and sleek lance with a dragon motif with teeth-like patterns and hexagons although it closely resembles that of a double-edged sword. Say hello to Sunlight Heart Plus. Where did you get it from? Did you buy it from a shop? Asked Neptune. It's the item Harrisman found when we were searching for the ingredient for the antidote, Naruto explained. I cleaned it up and learnt some nifty stuff about it. I would be interested to see what you can do with it, said Vert. Alright then, I'll take point. Naruto rushed up to one of the high-heeled Dagu and attacked. Lance burst, he slashed twice one-handedly then gripped in both hands to perform a powerful move attack to knock it backwards. He leapt backwards to avoid getting wrapped up in the tentacles of the second Dagu with the other casting high heel on the first Dagu to help it. It's my turn then, cross combo. Neptune dashed towards one of the high-heeled Dagu and slashed up to 5 hits with the 6th launching it into the air then flying after it with the final slash to drive it to the ground. Neptune failed to see the radisher approach from behind and cast a spell which caused her to emit a purple aura, a sneak attack. I'll show you with my critical edge. She tried to use the attack but it failed to activate. What's going on? That radisher casted a spell to seal your SP attacks. you won't be able to use them for some time. Gatchman warned us about it, If pointed out as she slashed at a high-heeled Dago with her brisk katar before jumping away from its counterattack of a sealing spell. Then I'll just hack and slash. Neptune declared, moving to attack the radisher with several slashes of her beam katana. Silhet spear. Vert twirled her spear and summoned a green magic circle next to her, then a large wooden spiraled spear shot out and struck two of the high-heeled Dogus. The third high-heeled Dago was about to cast a high-heel spell. Naruto was quick to notice and dashed towards it as he performed a pole vault to disrupt it with a flying kick. Let's see you heal from this. Arise Sunlight Heart Plus. Naruto held the lance before him as the lance disassembled itself to release the self-contained golden energy within and arranged its core components in the shape of a large arrow-shaped energy blade, Sunlight Slasher. The tip at the end of the lance's handle opened up to release energy to propel him towards the clearing to strike the monster and continued on to slam it into the mountain wall, destroying it. He spun round towards the other at the lance closed back up, Sunlight Flare. He swung the lance multiple times with the tip opening up to launch compressed crescent waves of energy to strike the other monsters from a distance, taking down the remaining Dogus with the radisher left. Neptune felt the purple aura dissipate from her body. Finally, I can bust my moves again. She turned towards the critically wounded radisher. Here I come, critical edge. She rushed up to the radisher and attacked with a diagonal slash, then followed it up with an uppercut to launch it into the air before moving at blurring speed for a final slash to finish it off. I must say that you have potential of wielding the lance, said Vert, impressed. Naruto rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. Thanks Vert-chan, just need to do some more training on how to properly use it, then I'm good to go. Perhaps I could give you a few lessons. Vert leaned forward with her melons wobbling from the movement. Naruto blushed beet red as he couldn't tear his eyes away from the cleavage. Then he was suddenly jerked back by a pouting Neptune pulling on his hood. Dungeon crawling now, lessons never, said Neptune as she continued to pull the blonde away from Vert, much to the hidden relief of If and Compa. Vert giggled to herself. He's so cute, just like Iffy. The party trekked through the dungeon as they took down monsters, with Gatchman identifying them to be Horsebird, wolves and Kopakity. Harrisman as always was able to find materials along the way. They were Gale stones, crust stones, a wahahaha. Idea chip, through yet quiet idea chip. They arrived at the Halo Mountain peak where they came across Ranran continuously barring a female missionary from moving past her and were hearing the argument as they drew closer. Like Ranran said, older ladies can pass through here, Ranran refuted. Who are you calling an old lady? The woman snarled in anger. Ranran actually brought out a mirror to hold in before her. See for yourself. You dare. I'll burn you to ashes. I.e. Ranran squealed in fear. That's about as far as you can go, conversation. If declared as they confronted their target. How dare you try to kill Naru and I won't let you go unpunished, said Neptune with a frown. She really wasn't happy about that, especially when Naruto was poisoned. Conversation clicked her tongue in annoyance. So you were just buying time. Well done, Ranran, said Vert with a smile. Ranran is scared of the mean old granny, said Ranran. So, I'm an old granny now, huh, said Conversation, glaring at Ranran, who quailed in fear. We'll take care of the rest, so you can go and hide somewhere safe, said Vert. Ranran will go now. Ranran left the clearing for the group to face Conversation freely. Now then, I would like to ask that you return something that belongs to me. Conversation crossed her arms with a sneer. Oh, and here I thought that you were just some otaku sissy, but you've done well. I would advise that you never underestimate a gaming otaku. Your plot is quite similar to a mystery game I recently cleared. Oh, the BRTH of a new detective, Sherlock Vert, said Neptune admirably. Compa nodded in agreement, and a gaming one at that. Conversation gritted her teeth in anger. How dare a publisher use my idea for a video game? After defeating you, I will destroy that publisher. She was engulfed in a puff of smoke which dispersed to reveal a familiar face to all except Vert. So that's your true form, then I wouldn't let you destroy any publishers, said Vert in defiance. Wait, it's you again, Arfwar, said If, tensed at seeing her again. So, she's here too, said Neptune in surprise. You're all familiar with her? Asked Vert. Yeah, she's one of the toes we stepped on back at Planeptune. Apparently, she has it out for Neptune and I along with pretty much the other goddesses, Naruto explained. She's a real meanie, Harassman piped up with a pout. I must repay you for the last time, the same thing will not happen again, Arfoire brandished her weapon as she spoke. Neptune glared in response, if you're itching for a rematch, she transformed into her HDD form and readied her blade, then I won't be holding back in the least. Same here, let's do this Model Z, said Naruto with the biometal flying into his outstretched hand, Mega Merge, he called out to initiate the transformation. Biolink established, MEGA system online. Naruto was engulfed in a dome of light before it dissipated to reveal that he had transformed into Megaman Model Z as he equipped himself with the Z-Saber. Arfoire lunged at Vert with a swing of her spear at Vert who quickly parried the incoming attack and slammed the side of her spear to knock her back. Arfoire shook of the attack and flew backwards to avoid a Gach claw from Gachman and got ready to retaliate but Naruto intercepted to blow the move with the flat end of his Z-Saber then knocked her back with a kick before taking to the offensive, Hurricane Fang. He dashed forward along the ground and performed a twirling slashing with the Z-Saber taking on a pink color before striking Arfoire 3 times in a row. My turn. Neptune went past Naruto and slashed diagonally with her sword but Arfoire recovered in time to block it. They repeatedly clashed with each other until Neptune parried a blow and performed a flip kick to launch the witch into the air and flew after her to knock her back to the ground with a downward strike where If stood waiting with an attack ready, Los Delphinus. If called out with a wave of her hand, a blue magic circle appeared underneath Arfoire before a pillar of energy shot out to strike her strongly several times. Arfoire snarled in anger, why you little dash, she attacked If with a power crush but Vert was quick to intercept the forthcoming attack with a riposte from her spear, Silhet spear, then she twirled it and summoned the green magic circle next to her for the large wooden spiraled spear to shoot out and strike Arfoire, dealing a good amount of damage. Now, don't think that I would let you hurt my cute Iffy, said Vert, making If stutter with a blush. You've gone and done it now, Impulse. Arfoire moved her spear forward to launch a purple orb of energy towards the two but Naruto appeared before them with the Z-Saber raised above his head. Ether Rule, the blade took on a violet tint before he performed a cleaving strike to erase the incoming projectile, slashing Light Ring. He swung the saber to launch a light element will to roll along the ground and strike Arfoire. My EXE attack is all charged up. Neptune holds her sword in front of her face as her body is enshrouded in a purple energy. This is my special, Neptune break. She dashed at high speed whilst landing consecutive slashes from different directions before landing on the ground with a skid. This is it. She flipped the blade into the air, catching it to perform an uppercut to launch Arfoire into the air and propelling her even further with a kick before shooting up to the sky and diving back in to stab Arfoire hard into the ground, triggering an explosion of purple light. Now that was totes cool, Naruto admitted. Arfoire groaned as she rose back to her feet. I can't believe that I'm being overwhelmed. We don't plan on taking your life, though I suggest that you return my powers at once, said Vert sternly. Oh really, you still longing to be a goddess in spite of being a game addict? Why, flattery will get you nowhere. Do you actually think I was flattering you? I'd like to see how you would handle my true power. Neptune scoffed in response, how cliché, just like villains from anime and manga. True, that is a rather overused line, said Naruto admittedly. Think however you like, but I wonder what you would think after seeing this, said Arfoire before being engulfed in a pillar of light which dissipated to refer her in a form which shocked everyone around. She bears a strong resemblance to Vert except having purple eyes and her hair remains long and in a ponytail with different shades of green, her fringe is seen above her eyes and her bangs are thick, caressing her face. Her attire is a white bodysuit that is open in the middle, exposing her stomach and underside of her melons. Her sleeves are detached and are white and black in the entirety. Her gauntlets are longer than the other CPUs with it covering the majority of her forearms. That form. Vert gasped in shock. That's Lady Vert's HHD form, said If. This is bad, her stats have gone way up, said Gachman worriedly after scanning. Arfwar sneered at them. I shall use your power to destroy you all, now die. She appeared in front of If and Kampa at blurring speeds and swung her spear to unleash a blast of wind to send the two flying into the air and crashing to the ground with a thud. You're gonna pay for that. Critical edge. Neptune dashed forward with a downward slash but it got deflected. She tried to follow up with an uppercut but Arfwar easily evaded it with a sidestep before unleashing a barrage of jabs from the spear with the last one sending her flying. Silhouette spear. Vert fired her attack towards Arfwar who swung her spear in a single motion to shatter the large wooden spiraled spear. Here's my silhouette spear. Arfwar summoned her own wooden spiraled spear to strike Vert who tried to defend but was knocked down from the overwhelming force. As to be expected, pathetic peons groveling before my might, said Arfwar arrogantly as she made to approach the girls struggling to get back to their feet when a razor-sharp circular disc flew in between to block her before flying back into the hands of Naruto who stood with eyes of determination hidden behind his visor. We're not gonna let you anywhere near them, said Naruto with Gatchman and Harassman standing on both sides. Arfwar scoffed in response, do you expect me to fear you? I rather expect you to be bashed to the ground. Activating Digivolution. Naruto called out as pillars of light engulfed the two Digimon. Initiating Digivolution. Gatchman digivolve to Gatchman. Harassman digivolve to Filman. Arfwar scoffed at the sight of the champion-level Digimon. This won't make any difference on your inevitable defeat. Filman growled in response, we'll see about that. He dashed across the field towards the enemy with Gatchman right behind him as he struck out, Lightning Stinger. He lashed out with his long red claws which she quickly blocked with her spear. Gatchman approached from the side, Sonic Slash. 2 pointers detached from Gatchman's hips and combined into a sword with a blade of blue energy protracting in between the gap before unleashing a powerful slash. Arfwar kicked Filman away from her and parried the energy blade to counter with a slash of her own to drive him back. Naruto appeared right before her in a blur with his Z-Saber reared back, soaring Flame Mountain. He performed an uppercut which created an upward wall of flames. Arfwar dashed backwards and swung her spear to launch a powerful blast of wind to blow away the flames. You're not getting away, Gatch Buster. Gatchman held his hands forward close together as the pointers detached themselves from his body and hovered around the hands at 4 angles as blue energy gathered at the hands before firing a powerful beam of energy. In a fluid motion, Arfwar cleaved through the energy beam without much of an effort to their shock. My turn, Kinestra Slash. Arfwar crouched slightly before disappearing in a flash to reappear right behind Naruto and the Digimon. At first, there was stillness till the trio suddenly screamed out in pain as numerous slashes began appearing all over their bodies. The damage was more than enough to forcefully revert the Digimon to their rookie forms and knock Naruto out of his Megamerged form. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 4. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Hussbek on FANFICTIONnet. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.